Old Trafford, it's Manchester United against Stoke. That is your 3 o'clock base, and your commentators, Championship winner Mark Lawrenson alongside Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our referee this afternoon is Lee Mason. We're about to get underway here in the sunshine, although I must say there is a dark, ominous cloud that hovers over the Sir Alex Ferguson stand over on that far side. Some may say that the man himself is casting a shadow with the amount of headlines that he's been creating during the week. Well, he's just taken his seat in the director's box away to our left, as has the former chairman Martin Edwards. But for the current incumbent, David Moyes, unbeaten in 4 in all competitions. It's the longest spell since he replaced Sir Alex Ferguson. And David Moyes will hope that his team can return to winning ways, certainly in the league, after that 1-0 victory against Real Sociedad. Do you believe the fear factor has gone, Mark Lawrenson?
Yeah, I do believe it's gone. And I think, for many years, you used to come here and if you won a corner, you used to do a lap of honour. It's completely gone at the moment. And I really do think it's down to one thing, is that's the failure to bring in better quality players in the summer. If you win the league, you have to bring better players in.
Well, Fellaini, who they did spend an awful lot of money on, is on the bench today. The 4 changes that Manchester United have made, I'll give you once we just watch Ireland, who'll come forward here for Stoke City, with what is like a charcoal grey and luminous green stripes. And to add to that change strip, certainly won't miss them should that dark cloud come over the ground and get very, very dark here at Old Trafford, because you'll see them in the gloomy conditions. The 4 changes that United have made: Robin van Persie making his 50th start for Manchester United for Hernandez, Smalling coming in for Rafael at right back, Cleverley for Giggs and Nani for Valencia. So you've got De Gea in goal, a back 4 of Smalling, Jones, Evans and Evra, Cleverley and Carrick in the centre of midfield, Kagawa to the left, Nani on the right and Rooney in behind Van Persie. As for Stoke, well, they've made 3 changes. Palacios, his first Premier League start for Adam, Crouch replaces Asaidi and Cameron comes in for Wilkinson at right back. Here is Van Persie in the penalty area. Van Persie with his back to goal, tries to turn, faces goal now, across the face of goal, and it was turned away by Cameron. Good play by the Dutchman. And Cameron at the right place at the right time doing the covering. Nani will shoot from distance over the top. So Stoke have Begovic in goal, a back 4 of Cameron, Shawcross, Huth and Peters, and Zonzi and Palacios and Ireland, Walters, Arnautovic and Crouch.
Just a simple turn as well from Van Persie, got him free of his marker, and a little bit ominous for Stoke, that.
No other goals to tell you about around the country. We of course have our reporters at our featured games in the Barclays Premier League and also in the Sky Bet Championship, as well as the football. We're also keeping up to date with the Rugby League World Cup, which has started today with a double header at the Millennium Stadium, England against Australia, and a try for George Riley.
And it's a try for Australia, only a matter of time really. Ian, it was a great take from a high kick from Inglis. He could have got over himself, I think. He offloaded it, and there was Jonathan Thurston in the green and gold skullcap to touchdown just to the left of the post. He's lining up a kick, so you would think it will be 10 points to 6.
Torquay lead Portsmouth by 1-0. Commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra of both of those opening games in the Rugby League World Cup, followed of course by Wales against Italy. Now Stoke on the attack, good save by De Gea from Crouch, but Stoke have bundled the ball in at the second attempt. Would you believe it? Manchester United are behind after just 3 minutes. Manchester United 0, Stoke City 1, and Peter Crouch on his return to the starting lineup for the first time since the opening day.
Yeah, and this as well, it's a great break by Stoke down the left, lovely ball in. Crouch did make decent contact in it. I thought De Gea actually made a very, very good save, and then it was just something that was eventually scrambled in. But I think, was it Peters with the break down the left-hand side? And fantastic ball, great run as well from Crouch, good save initially from De Gea. And was it actually an own goal? I'm not quite sure.
Well, it might have come off Johnny Evans last. In fact, I think what Johnny Evans might have done is he tried to flick the ball away, and it might have hit Crouch on
or Evra even, I think. Oh no, Crouch, hit it against Crouch.
Peter Crouch, he's never been on the winning side in 17 attempts against Manchester United. Brought back into the starting lineup for the first time in the league since the opening day, and he has given Stoke City the lead here against Manchester United. Manchester United 0, Stoke City 1. It's the last thing that David Moyes would have wanted, bearing in mind that they've been beaten by West Brom and held by Southampton.
Yeah, and what odds could you got on Stoke being up within 2 or 3 minutes? At Old Trafford, this is a team who doesn't score goals.
It's the first time this season, actually, a centre-forward for Stoke City has scored. Only their 5th goal this season. Adam, Cameron, Pennant and Shawcross, the previous goal scorers. Stoke City leading Manchester United by a 1-0. Makes for a cracking game for the neutral.
Well, it does. The only problem the way United have started as well, Ian, is that they've given the ball away too often already. And I think originally their move broke down some sort of 75 yards away from their own goal, Manchester United, and then within probably 30 seconds they've conceded the first goal.
Crouch with a knockdown header, and Nzonzi, this rangy midfielder to come forward on the right-hand side. It's Nzonzi, it's a good ball in, headed away by Evans. Carrick will be able to come onto this bouncing ball. Now he's got Cleverley ahead of him. Rooney, Nani's out on the right, Van Persie central. Here is Kagawa. Kagawa in the centre circle, out towards Nani. Nani now with a space to run into on that right-hand side for Manchester United. Nani goes past one challenge, edge of the penalty area, lays it off. This is Cleverley trying to thread the ball through. Did Nani have his legs taken behind him? No, referee Lee Mason waves away those protests, and Peters will bring the ball away. Here is Van Persie, right corner of the penalty area for Manchester United, back in possession to Rooney. Rooney with his back to goal, touch let him down, Stoke will be able to clear. Palacios not able to hang on to it long enough. Van Persie's little flick to Kagawa was intercepted by Shawcross. They can't keep the ball though, Stoke. And here is Nani. Nani's cross through towards the goalkeeper Begovic.
Wasn't bad, you know, and Rooney obviously anticipated it. He's probably only half a stride away from it. Some of United's passing since Stoke scored the goal has actually been much improved, nice and short and sharp.
Because at times that has been the accusation that they've laboured in their last 2 home league games.
Well, the other thing as well is there is now an atmosphere in the ground, isn't there? The fact that United are 1 down isn't great for United, but in terms of lifting the players, I think it is.
No need for a singing section today. Where it was against Real Sociedad in midweek in the Champions League is where those Stoke City supporters are housed, away to our right-hand side, and they are certainly in full voice. Mind you, they always are, to be fair to them. Nani carrying the ball on that right-hand side for United into Van Persie. Let it come across his body. Left-footed shot was blocked. I can tell you that Oxford United are leading at Wimbledon by a 0-0 in League Two. This is 5 Live at Old Trafford, where already Stoke City are leading Manchester United by a 0-0. Peter Crouch after 4 minutes. Here is Cleverley. Cleverley coming forward, rolls the ball out to Evra, left-hand side, level the penalty area. Evra drills the ball in low, comes out to Nani outside the penalty area. Nani's got time to control it and try and place it over the top. Goal kick.
Well, he needed to put his boot through it, didn't he? He had lots of time as well. Controlled it with his left, just aimed it a little bit to his right, and he's got under it. He almost side-footed it, really, rather than just striking it.
Opening game in the Rugby League World Cup. England 10, Australia 6. Commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra as Stevenage lead Crawley Town by a 0-0 as we go to Anfield. Liverpool, West Brom, Juliet Farrington.
Where it's Liverpool 0, West Brom 0. Early Luis Suarez corner though coming to nothing as Olsen got it clear, but Suarez also with the first Everton goal just going wide from outside the area. Liverpool trying to start their authority early on, 0-0 here.
8 minutes played here at Old Trafford. Stoke City lead by a 0-0, a ground where they haven't won since 1976. Although I should point out they did take the lead here last season through a Wayne Rooney own goal after 11 minutes. They actually had the better of the first 20 minutes when Tony Pulis was the manager, but they ended up losing 4-2. Penalty at Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
Benteke on the spot. It's for Aston Villa. He was brought down by Coleman. Howard stands between Benteke and the goal, and it's magnificently saved by Howard. Falling away to his right, he put a trailing left hand up, diverted it over the bar. What a great save from Howard. A blow for Benteke. It's Aston Villa 0, Everton 0.
Thank you, Pat. Here, Cameron with the throw for Stoke City goes back to Shawcross, a former Manchester United player, of course. And then it's seen over towards that far side to Peters, who's been an ever-present for Stoke, and it was his run down that left-hand side. It was a good cross-in that led to the goal for Peter Crouch. His first goal in the Premier League this season, he had scored against Tranmere in the League Cup. And Nzonzi back out towards Peters again. Nzonzi feeds the ball back towards the Dutchman, and then he'll go back. How important is it, Mark, what Stoke do now that they've got the lead? and not sit back?
Well, of course, because when the ball comes into Manchester United's penalty area at the moment, they are nervy, jittery, call it what you will. But also the fact that, that the teams have come here like your West Broms and your Southamptons before Stoke and got results from this particular game.
So 1-0 to Stoke City here, as we're going to go to Carrow Road, Norwich against Cardiff, and John Southall.
It's 0-0, but Norwich purposeful going forward at a vibrant Carrow Road, 1/2 chance. Martin Olsen from 25 yards out, struck it really well, flew just wide. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0.
Crouch, the goal scorer for Stoke City, loses out in the challenge to Evra. Coming onto that ball out of defence is Jones. Jones looks to see where the movement is. It's Smalling who makes the outlet. Will he keep the ball in play? Yes, he will, with those long, lanky legs of his on that right-hand side. Rooney back out towards the right. They've got both Nani and Smalling there. Here is Nani. It's a low ball into the penalty area, and Begovic will deal with that at his near post.
Too close, wasn't it? But a better break from Manchester United, certainly.
Tranmere, who are yet to win at Prenton Park this season, are leading MK Dons by 1-0, and in the Championship, Reading, who are unbeaten at home, are leading Millwall by 1-0. Reading 1, Millwall 0 in the Championship. Earlier today, Arsenal going 5 points clear in the Barclays Premier League at the top with that 2-0 victory at Selhurst Park, and Manchester United are behind to Stoke City, as United will clear over on that far side. And there's a goal at Yeovil in the Championship. They're at home to Nottingham Forest. Seth Bennett.
Yeovil lead here by 1-0. 8 minutes gone. It was Ed Upson on the volley from 20 yards. Great finish from him. He puts the home side in front. It's 1-0 to Yeovil.
Only 1 point out of a possible 18 at the new Hewish for Yeovil. And that will be a real boost for Nottingham Forest against the Nottingham Forest side, who are unbeaten in 7 in the league. The Stoke City supporters are in terrific voice away to our right-hand side, and they have good reason to be. They're leading by 1-0. Dagenham and Redbridge are leading Rochdale. The leaders of League Two are behind. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Rochdale 0. And earlier today, a latest score for a 2 o'clock kickoff: Northampton Town 1, Cheltenham 1.
They say he should never go back as a manager, don't they? Not upset Keith Hill, is it? Going back to Rochdale.
Meanwhile, goal at Anfield, Juliet Farrington.
And Liverpool are in front. They lead West Brom by 1-0. And who else but Luis Suarez, his first goal against West Brom, as clinical as you like, in 5 attempts, has fired Liverpool in front here. 1-0 they lead.
So Liverpool are leading by 1-0. Aston Villa have had a penalty saved. Benteke saved by Howard. It remains 0-0 at Villa Park. No goals between Norwich and Cardiff. Early today, Arsenal beat Crystal Palace by 2-0. England are leading Australia in the opening game of the Rugby League World Cup. Commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Just wondered whether it was not going to be Manchester United's day when Van Persie, not spelt the way of the Dutchman, came 5th in the 240 at Doncaster. We'll have news of the Racing Post Trophy at 10 to 4 with you on 5 Live. We mentioned the Rugby League. There has been another try now at the Millennium Stadium. George Riley.
Another try for Australia. It's 10 apiece with a kick to come. A massive hole in the England defence down the left channel. They've given away a penalty right in front. Australia only needed 1 play, and Greg Inglis, danced through. Kick to come. Australia poised here at the front. 10-10.
Let's go to the Scottish Premiership. Kilmarnock Hearts at Rugby Park. Ian Turner.
Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 0. We're in the 11th minute. Both teams have had good chances. Ryan Stevenson with a right foot curler just tipped over the bar, and Chris Boyd with a blistering shot from just outside the box past the post. 0-0.
13 minutes played here at Old Trafford. Manchester United, 2007 was the last time where they failed to win 3 games at home in the Premier League. That is what they're in danger of doing. There is, of course, a long way to go, but Stoke City leading by 1-0 thanks to the telescopic legs of this man. Peter Crouch over on that far side. Rolls the ball back to Peters on the left. Arnautovic looking to go on the outside of Smalley. Arnautovic's cross, waiting is Walters. Walters heads it into Crouch, who scoops it over about knee height inside the 6-yard box. What a chance to make it 2-0.
Yeah, great run by Arnautovic. Just got half a yard on Smalling. Decent long cross as well. And, the header back was the key, really. And then Crouch just in front of the central defender. You might argue could have easily made it 2-0.
Well, in that corresponding fixture last season, I think it was De Gea who'd made a terrific save. Might have been from Adam. It tests my memory. They didn't take it, and they're the type of chances that you've got to take.
Yes, most definitely. I think the other thing about you look at Manchester United and Smalling playing at right back. I don't think he's ever a right back at all for me, Ian. Really, seriously, isn't.
I think he's played there 2 or 3 times for United this season. Of course, he played there for England against Poland, as Australia now lead England 12 points to 10 at the Millennium Stadium in the Rugby League World Cup. Here is Rooney with his back to goal to Carrick. Carrick then over towards that far side, and this is Nani to Rooney. Stoke City have plenty of those charcoal grey chain shirts behind the ball, as here is Evans to Jones in the centre circle. Carrick looking to thread a ball through. Kagawa's flick. Will it reach Van Persie? Yes, he will. He tried to stab it back to him. Van Persie then lays it out. Smalling's cross from the right into the penalty area, headed away by Cameron. The right back was tucked in. He was helped out by supporting player of Walters to deal with Nani. And Manchester United unable to force their way through. There appears to be that lack of creativity in the final third.
Yeah, and also as well, I think they've not really got much width down the left at all. Nani's also playing on the right, Ian, and cutting in all the time, and Stoke have got all those bodies in the line there, and by the way, there's got some big bodies in the way.
Certainly have. Blackpool are leading Blackburn by a goal to nil. Will stay in Lancashire to Turf Moor. Top of the table clash in the Championship. Alistair Yeomans.
14 minutes gone. Burnley 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Robert Green, 5 live summariser, has saved Rangers twice, dispossessing Danny Ings, and just a moment ago punching away a Kieran Trippier free kick. It's 0-0.
Well, the change of manager has worked well for Gillingham. The interim manager Peter Taylor has his side leading at Port Vale. Port Vale 0, Gillingham 1. And we mentioned that Thomas Ince goal for Blackpool against Blackburn. Blackburn, who suffered back-to-back defeats. Blackpool enjoying their best start in 18 seasons.
Yeah, and even though Peter Taylor lost his first game in charge, I think, didn't he?
They won during the week, though, didn't they?
They did, Notts County. But I think you'll find they were beaten by Preston North End, Ian, first game.
I'd expect you to know that. United here are behind. Here is Johnny Evans, making his way towards the halfway line. Rooney wants the ball to feet and comes to collect it. Inside towards Kagawa, lays it off to Cleverley. Cleverley will go forward with that first touch, lays it off to Kagawa. Only other Premier League start was against West Brom, and the Japanese international was replaced at half-time, despite actually having a decent game in that first 45 minutes. But David Moyes made the change, as Kagawa coming forward, lays it off towards Rooney. Rooney to the edge of the area, pulls it out towards the right-hand side, intercepted, goes out for a corner. Another try for George Riley in the Rugby League.
16-10, the Australian lead now. Massive moment in this game. Sam Tompkins made a clean break, but hauled back for a forward pass, and straight down the other end, Billy Slater, an individual try down the right-hand side. That's the hooter. So 16-10 with a kick to come, Australia lead.
And after this corner, there's been a goal at Anfield, but we'll stay here in our commentary game of Manchester United 0, Stoke City 1. It's Rooney to take it. It's in low. Flicked by Carrick, comes out to Evans, complete miss kick. Ireland will clear. Come in Juliet Farrington at Anfield.
And it's a second goal for Luis Suarez. Liverpool now leading West Brom by 2-0. A real powerful header this time over the stretching arms of Bowers Myhill in the West Bromwich Albion goal. Concern for Liverpool, though, I can just see Danny Sturridge receiving treatment just outside the penalty area, as the medical staff here at Liverpool will pick him up back to his feet. But it's 2-0 Liverpool. They're well on top. Luis Suarez with both.
I think Berrywood, in an ideal world, would have wanted to have given their caretaker manager Ronnie Jepson a chance at taking over the job on a permanent basis, but they're losing at Wickham. That would be 9 games without a win for Bury. Meanwhile, there's been a goal in our featured game in League One. Sheffield United against Crewe. Durham Tanner.
18 minutes into Nigel Clough's new era here at Bramall Lane, and they lead by a goal to nil, and courtesy of the centre-half Harry Maguire heading in McGinn's free kick, they lead Crewe by 1 goal to nil.
And we're going to Yeovil. Seth Bennett.
Penalty for Nottingham Forest away to my left-hand side. Simon Cox stands over it. The referee now runs away. It's been a long wait here for Cox to take this one. He faces big Wayne Hennessy. The referee continues to jog around the D, just making sure everybody's back. This has taken an absolute age. Now he blows his whistle. Up steps Cox. And saved by Hennessy. Rebound comes out, saved again, and cleared off the line by Byron Webster. Yeovil still lead this one by a goal to nil.
Wolverhampton Wanderers in League One have won their last 4 away from home, but they're trailing at Valley Parade. Bradford City 1, Wolves 0. Kilmarnock are leading Hearts by a goal to nil. We'll get details of that goal from Ian Turner when we can. Meanwhile, to Derby against Birmingham, Simon Mann in the Championship. 20 minutes gone, it's still Derby 0, Birmingham 0, but a huge let-off for Birmingham in the second minute. They were opened up by one through ball through the middle of their defence. Jamie Ward onto it. His shot was blocked by the legs of Darren Randolph. Birmingham have been a bit better since then. Zigic headed over from a corner, but Derby on the front foot mainly. Derby 0, Birmingham 0. Third place Leicester at home to Bournemouth. Goal for Peter Slater.
18 minutes, David Nugent, 8th goal of the season, curled in with his right foot from the left-hand side of the penalty area. It's been coming. Jamie Vardy's already skinned Elliot Ward twice and Ward's been booked, but Leicester have the lead. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
In the Premier League, Arsenal beat Crystal Palace by 2-0. That's the result. Liverpool lead West Bromwich Albion 2-0. Aston Villa 0, Everton 0. Benteke had a penalty saved from Tim Howard and no goals between Norwich and Cardiff. Here at Old Trafford in our commentary game, Stoke City lead by 1-0. We've been playing for 20 minutes. Manchester United, red shirts, white shorts, black socks, playing from right to left, attacking the Stretford end. Kagawa will lay it back to Carrick. Carrick then to Nani. Smalling is forward, the right back, right corner of the penalty area as Nani will go towards him. Then he turns, pulls the ball back and lays it off towards Rooney. Back towards the Portuguese captain. Nani then will wait. No real movement going on ahead of him. They're going square. Here is Kagawa out towards Evra. Evra comes forward now. Evra into the penalty area to Van Persie looking to turn. In the end, it's a right-footed shot that sails high into the Stretford end. And let's get details of that goal from Ian Turner in the Scottish Premiership. Kilmarnock Hearts.
It came after 16 minutes and it came from top scorer Chris Boyd. It was his 5th of the season. Turned 2 defenders inside out, left them on their backside in the penalty area before firing a crisp left foot shot low into the corner past Jamie McDonald. Kilmarnock 1, Hearts 0.
Brentford 1, Shrewsbury 0 in League 1. And in League 2, Morecambe, who are unbeaten at home, are trailing surprisingly against Accrington. Accrington without an away win all season. They got their first win of the campaign against Bristol Rovers on Tuesday. They are leading at Morecambe. Morecambe 0, Accrington Stanley 1. And at half-time in the Rugby League, Australia lead 18 points to 10. And when the second half resumes, you'll hear that on 5 Live Sports Extra. What's your verdict so far, almost midway through the first half here, Mark Lawrence?
Well, I mean, Stoke really, they've had 2 chances, scored 1 goal. Manchester United had most of the play, and the only real chance they've had is a complete miss-hit by Johnny Evans from the corner.
Here is Kagawa to Rooney. Rooney just over the halfway line, tries that cross-field diagonal ball out towards Nani, takes it high on the chest, keeps the ball in play. Smalling has already bombed on ahead of him on that right-hand side as Nani looks for Kagawa, but he's being marshalled by Hoof and out for a goal kick. So Mark Bowen and Mark Hughes in deep conversation down in front of the dugouts there. In front of us here at Old Trafford, Stoke City leading by 1-0 as we go around the grounds in the Premier League and back to Anfield and Juliet Berrington.
Well, Liverpool still lead by 2-0. 2 goals for Luis Suarez again against West Brom. Thoroughly deserved. His first he poked home delightfully. His second a pinpoint header into the top corner. Different class today, Luis Suarez. Liverpool on top. They lead 2-0.
Aston Villa against Everton. Pat Murphy.
It's still 0-0. It's a high-tempo game, an enjoyable match. You just wonder how significant will that miss penalty from Benteke be, because scraps in the table very much with Villa at the moment, and then Everton knocking the ball around with a fair amount of class and composure. Howard's save, though, outstanding from that penalty. Villa 0, Everton 0.
Rooney has just shot from long range here for Manchester United, and it was well wide. Begovic had it covered. Stoke City still lead by 1-0. Norwich against Cardiff. John Southall.
0-0. We've had a chance apiece for Cardiff. Stephen Coulter unmarked 8 yards out. His downward header went wide. Should have done better. Should have scored. Snodgrass for Norwich, 12 yards out on the right angle. He hit that one wide of the right-hand post. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0. Good game.
And what about that eye-catching game in the Championship? Burnley against Queen's Park Rangers. Alistair Yeomans.
Still Burnley 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Decent game, but Dano, I have to report that Bertie B, the Burnley mascot, has been sent to the stands by the referee Andy Haynes. Apparently he was being too vigorous. That's his job, for goodness sake.
He'll be stung by that, won't he?
Barnsley 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1 is a result from earlier today. Huddersfield Town beat Leeds United 3-2 in the West Yorkshire derby. Leeds have lost their last 5 now on the road. Latest scores in the Championship: Blackpool 1, Blackburn 1, Bolton 0, Ipswich 0, Derby 0, Birmingham 0, Leicester lead Bournemouth 1-0, Reading are 1-0 up against Millwall, and Yeovil 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Here Stoke City lead by 1-0. I think they need that singing section back at Old Trafford. You wouldn't know that United are behind. Here is Kagawa to Rooney. Very pedestrian, though, from Manchester United at the minute. Kagawa will help it on. Evans will come forward. Very congested, and Shawcross stops cleverly from going forward, and it's been cleared out of play for a throw.
I think one of the other observations about Manchester United nowadays is they used to make this pitch as wide as they possibly could. But if you look now, Ian, they're very, very narrow. It's easier to defend against them.
Yeah, predictable Manchester United at the minute. Van Persie out to Cleverley. Everett will go on the outside as Cleverley comes in field. Kagawa's offside. Whenever Kagawa gets the ball, he looks like, when you take away Van Persie or Rooney, he's the only player who look from a midfielder who looks like he might be able to unlock the Stoke defence.
His brain's working, isn't he? Because his first touch is very, very good. Allows him just to get his head up instantaneously. Has a quick little look, and his brain's working all the time, most definitely.
Fleetwood Town are leading at York City by a 1-0, and also in League Two, Newport County are 1-0 up against Southend United. 25 minutes played here on 5 Live. Let's get another update from Carrow Road with John Southall.
Well, I've just had the best chance of the game, and it's gone to Cardiff. It's Norwich 0, Cardiff 0. Fraser Campbell through on goal, but really good save by the Norwich keeper, Ruddy, coming out, saving with his legs and putting it over the bar. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0.
25 and a half minutes played. Mark Hughes, 2 spells, of course, as a player here at Manchester United. Doesn't have a particularly good track record, though, when he's been up against them as a manager. Only 2 wins out of a previous 15, and that was when Blackburn Rovers did the double over Manchester United in the 05-06 season. Carlisle United are leading Bristol City by a 0-0. Dreadful run of form, Bristol City. Until today, it was 21 games in the league without a win, stretching back until March. Let's go back to Villa Park. Aston Villa, Everton, Pat Murphy.
It's still 0-0. It could be 3-0 to Villa because Tim Howard is playing an absolute blinder. Just now, Vyman looked well offside, by the way. One-on-one, blocked him. Just before that, hint of offside. Benteke, right foot shot, palmed away to his left, and then the superb penalty save early on. It is Villa 0, Howard / Everton 0.
Crouch with a layoff. Walters, good save by De Gea. Comes back to Walters, good block by Evans. Again, that could have been a second goal. Is that the wake-up call for Manchester United? Because twice now in this game, Stoke City have had opportunities to increase their lead.
Too easy for Crouch and Walters against Evans and Jones. Far too easy. It was almost like watching the game in slow motion.
Manchester United straight to the other end. Nani on the right-hand side. Nani now into the penalty area. Didn't beat the first man. Blocked by Peters. De Gea has kept Manchester United in this game. It was a super reflex save from Walters. And now Huth in his own penalty area will clear the ball out of play for a throw.
But it was nothing complicated from Stoke, wasn't it? A ball into Crouch. He just laid it off for Walters, who reacted before the central defender. I think it was Jones, and they should be 2 up.
Here is Kagawa for Manchester United. Stoke City have had the 2 opportunities since the goal. Crouch, remember, had scooped one over from inside the 6-yard box. Here is Nani from long range. Moved in the air and it flashed wide out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little wider than it looks from our sort of viewpoint here, most definitely. But keep saying about Manchester United that they're just making this game narrower and narrower. The pitch narrower and narrower, and it's easy for Stoke. They're just sat in there, 2 banks of 4, saying, come on then, try and play through the middle of us.
They look at a shadow of the team from last year, don't they? Is it too simple to say it's because of the change of manager?
Yeah, probably, but I do think it is. You know, I will always maintain, if you win the league and you walk into your dressing room early July for pre-season, and there's nobody who comes in who's going to take your place, it's too easy. And there's no pressure on the players.
Well, last week David Moyes dispelled the theory about the fear factor. He said the players in the past and not the manager were the ones that created that fear. But Mark Hughes said that they were vulnerable, and certainly they're looking to expose that fragility. Leyton Orient, the leaders in League One, are leading Rotherham by a 0-0. They were unbeaten in 12 until that was ended by Coventry midweek. Corner comes in from that far side, headed away by the goal scorer Crouch. Here is Rooney. Rooney left corner of the penalty area. Ireland. The ball-headed Stoke player will look to try and play the ball forward towards Cameron, who can get forward from right back in the side for Stoke City today, but United have seen it back towards goalkeeper David De Gea. That could well be the turning point, those 2 missed chances.
Well, but most definitely. Well, I was going to say you don't get chances like those at Old Trafford, but of course you do now.
Here is Carrick to Rooney. The worrying thing is, for Manchester United, we've been playing for close on half an hour now, and the best that they've had is either shots from long range with Rooney that was always going wide, or that missed kick from Evans in the penalty area.
I think that missed kick from Evans is the only chance in the penalty area.
And Nani there shooting from a good 35 yards out. You could hear the reaction to the crowd.
Look where he is though, Ian. He's 35, 40 yards out. He's in the middle of the pitch. Get yourself out on the wing. Stretch the Stoke defence. Too easy.
Well, Crewe Alexandra have never won at Bramall Lane. What's the latest against Sheffield United? Derm Tanner.
It's not looking good, Ian, because they're 2 down, but it's great for Sheffield United fans, and it's the same two who combined again. McGinn this time with the corner, Maguire again with a header. 2-0 Sheffield United.
Here, Stoke City are leading by a goal to nil. And you'd have to say, well worth it too, and could have had more. Meanwhile, there's been a try in our featured game in the Aviva Premiership. Northampton against the leaders Saracens. Chris Jones.
Northampton lead by 10 points to 3. First miler and good exchange penalties and a brilliant Northampton try. Samu Manoa prominent, couple of strong carries. He linked with Sam Dickinson. Dickinson offloaded superbly to Jamie Elliott, who scored. Northampton 10, Saracens 3.
So we know in our featured game in League One, Sheffield United are leading 2-0 in Nigel Clough's opening game. Elsewhere, Wolves have equalised at Valley Parade. Bradford City 1, Wolves 1. Brentford still leads Shrewsbury by a goal to nil. Carlisle 1, Bristol City 0. Lake Norient leading Rotherham by a goal to nil. Elsewhere, the other goals: Port Vale 0, Gillingham 1. Stevenage lead Crawley by a goal to nil. And Tranmere, without a home win this season, are still leading MK Dons by a goal to nil. The other games remain goalless, and I can tell you that James Henry was the goal scorer for that equaliser at Valley Parade for Wolves. We're going back to Villa Park and Pat Murphy.
It was brilliant enough saves and goalkeeping from Howard, but Guzan has just made one of the saves of the season. 6 yards out, Lukaku, point-blank header. Couldn't believe it, Lukaku. On top of that, Barkley's hit the Villa bar. It's not a bad game. Goalkeeper's superb. Can't believe it's still 0-0.
Stoke are threatening again. Arnautovic this time with a cross, hit it on the half volley just inside the penalty area. Cross came in from Walters. Another chance for Stoke, Mark Lawrence.
Well, at the risk of boring the listeners, too easy again for Stoke. Just a simple 3 passes, and it was simple. Arnautovic in with a chance. He didn't strike it particularly well, but yet another save from De Gea.
That's the 4th chance that Stoke have carved out in this first half. Begovic is yet to be tested. Dundee United are leading St Mirren by a goal to nil. We're going back to Carrow Road. John Southall after Rooney. Tipped over by Begovic. Now he's brought into action. It was a rising drive by Rooney. Tipped over by the Bosnian for a corner. Glad we stayed with that one.
Yeah, it's better, wasn't it? It's a save you'd expect Begovic to make. It's right in the middle of the goals, but at least United have got a shot on target.
And can I just point out as well that he is not called John Southall Rooney, but we will be back with John at Carrow Road in a moment. We'll just stay with this corner kick in front of the tunnel area here in the bottom left-hand corner at Old Trafford, and Rooney's going to take it. They're trailing by a goal to nil. Rooney in towards the near post, headed away by Nzonzi to Carrow Road and John.
It's got a ring to it though, Deno. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0, but surely we've got a goal coming here soon. We had the much miss at one end. Howson's seen a good save from Marshall. Then a moment ago, a Snodgrass corner, and Leroy Fer hooked it back, cleared off the line. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0.
Always had my suspicions about your hairstyle. Here is Rooney. Out towards Smalling over on that right-hand side, just past 3:30 on 5 Live. Stoke are leading by a goal to nil. Here is Rooney, trying to thread it through to Van Persie. Turns out towards Evra. Evra, cross blocked by Walters. John will get me back, he does the rotors. I think I'll be sent to Carrow Road for successive home games, one would imagine.
Oh, for no games.
For no games. A 2-game ban. Rooney to take the corner kick for Manchester United. Manchester United 0, Stoke City 1. It's a high ball, punched away by Begovic. It's going to come out towards Jones. He squares it to Cleverley. Cleverley out to Rooney, left touch line. Walters is holding him up. Rooney, though, has got him back pedalling. Strikes the thigh of Cameron, and Stoke will clear. And a free kick to Stoke City. I also know people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones as well.
So they say. Still Manchester United. It's just the same thing again. It's cutting inside from the left, trying to sort of get a right foot cross in there. And we know how big Stoke are in defence. We know how good as well they are at dealing with balls that come into the box. And really, apart from that Rooney save, which I think it's comfortable save by Begovic, it's been really comfortable for Stoke.
A week ago I tipped Swindon as potential candidates for promotion in League One. Since then they lost to Walsall during the week and are now trailing at Boundary Park. Oldham Athletic 1, Swindon Town 0. You know that bet I told you about beforehand?
Yeah.
Forget it.
I already have.
Here is Nzonzi for Stoke City, back to Shawcross. Shawcross will chip the ball forward. Evra gets himself in front of Walters, who's closing in on 100 successive games for Stoke City in the Premier League. This is game 99, going back to February 2011 for their top scorer last season. Nzonzi to Crouch. Crouch down the line to Nzonzi on this near side, the right, level with the penalty area, looking to come in between both Cleverley and Evra. Thought he got away with it as well, but here is Cleverley. Can't nudge the ball past Cameron. Luckily for him, in support was Evra. Evra then out towards Rooney. Rooney on this left-hand side, trailing by a goal to nil. 5 live at Old Trafford. Rooney now looking to roll away from Cameron. Cameron, though, still biting away at Rooney, who then slams his right hand down in annoyance after he was caught by Ireland. Free kick to Manchester United.
I think that's born out of frustration as much as anything. He'd actually overrun the ball a little bit. It was a free kick, don't get me wrong, but he's frustrated.
Mentioned that Wolves have won their last 4 away in the league. It might well be 5. They've come from behind and are leading at Valley Parade. Bradford City 1, Wolves 2. Carrick has given the ball away. It's 2-on-2 now for Stoke City. Ireland bringing the ball forward. Crouch is making a run in behind Jones, and Jones gets the header to knock it down towards Carrick. It was promising for Stoke. Here is Evra. It's a good game. Here is Kagawa. Not for Manchester United, though, it's not. Here is Evra on the left-hand side, looking to Kagawa once more. He's got in round the back of Cameron. Cameron, though, he's back goal side, threads it round the side of Cameron. Evra's first-time cross, headed away by Huth. Up in the air in the penalty area, headed away by Cameron, flicked on by Walters. Actually goes in field, and United will try and get it back, but Nzonzi then will get the ball out towards Walters. And there's potential here for another counter-attack. This is Walters coming forward. Arnautovic is going on ahead of him, and he'll win a corner off the legs of Jones, who berates his midfielders. Meanwhile, try at the Millennium Stadium for George Riley.
Daylight for Australia, 22 points to 10. Bit of controversy about this one. The touch judge, Robert Hicks, on the far side, judging that winger Josh Charnley, fielding the ball and trying to return the kick, went into touch. It gave head and feed 10 metres out to Australia. They worked it straight down the other end, and Brett Morris went over for the try. Huge controversy, but daylight as well. 22-10 with a kick to come is the Aussie lead.
Arnautovic with the corner. The away swinging corner comes to Huth. First chance was blocked and had a second nibble at it too, and then in fact in that second attempt has caught Smalling, and that'll be a free kick to Manchester United in their own penalty area. The rugby's on Sports Extra, and I've mentioned it a few times, but for those of you who've just joined us, Australia coming from behind, leading 22-10. Commentary continuing there on Sports Extra. So Stoke here are leading by a goal to nil. Manchester United once again below par. Liverpool, though, looking to close the gap on leaders Arsenal against West Brom at Anfield. Juliet Farrington.
They're doing just that. They lead West Brom by 2-0 and 2 goals for Luis Suarez as well. His first, he beat his markers to poke home with a stunning individual effort. His second from the cross of Zizoko to head home with power. Skirtle had an opportunity to make it 3-0, but fluffed his shot in front of goal. Liverpool on top. They lead 2-0.
We've run through all the scores in the Premier League, the Championship and League One. This is how they stand so far in League Two. This is a 2 o'clock kickoff, so they're coming to the end of the game at Sixfields. Northampton 1, Cheltenham 1. In the 3 o'clock kickoffs where there have been goals, Oxford still lead Wimbledon by a goal to nil. Dagenham and Redbridge are leading Rochdale, the leaders, by a goal to nil. As I just cast my eye over towards that far side, and Smalling has won a corner as the cross has been headed behind so quickly. Accrington are leading Morecambe by a goal to nil. Newport are winning at home against Southend 1-0. Torquay 1, Portsmouth 0. York 0, Fleetwood Town 1. And with Oxford United leading at Wimbledon by a goal to nil, as it stands, they're going to the top of the table. Corner on the right-hand side for Manchester United, headed away by Crouch. Picked up by Jones on this near side, the left, attacking the Stretford end and behind by a goal to nil. Jones goes on a strong run. Little ball in back by Rooney towards Jones. And it was Walters who was tracking that run, and not only has he kept the ball in play, he's back on his feet and will knock it long away downfield. In the Championship, there's been a goal at Pride Park. Derby County against Birmingham. Simon Mann.
And it's gone to Derby 6 minutes before half-time. Scored by Jamie Ward. Cross came in from the left-hand side. The initial shot was really well saved by Randolph in the Birmingham goal, but it broke to Ward. and he turned and scored from close range. Derby 1, Birmingham 0.
Hardly the perfect birthday present for Lee Clark, who turns 41 tomorrow. Dundee United have increased their lead against St Mirren by leading 2-0. Here is Peters. They've been dispossessed and Stoke are on the attack yet again. Peters with a cross, Crouch sliding in, Evans covering, sliding in behind him. Arnautovic then with a curling effort from the edge of the area over the top. Stoke City deserve to be leading more than by 1-0.
Yeah, and Nani's complaining he was fouled, but he should be stronger anyway, and it was a break from Stoke. That's probably the 5th or 6th break they've made throughout this game. They look really, really good on the counter-attack. I don't think Nani was fouled as well either. He just needs to be stronger.
It is worth stating, and we did this ahead of the kick-off with Jonathan, that already Manchester United have dropped 13 points. Last year they dropped 13 in their first 30, their first 3-0 Premier League games.
Yeah, the other thing as well about that is, you know, we're saying about United not creating and scoring, but defensively they look very, very poor. I mean, the pairing of Jones and Evans looks very, very inexperienced, doesn't it?
Certainly does. They were hoping that Vidic was going to return against Real Sociedad on Wednesday, but still no sign of the Serbian. Here is Carrick to Smalling. On that right-hand side to Nani, level the penalty area, attacking the Stretford end. And Nani checked by Peters, by Arnautovic rather, and that'll be a free kick to Manchester United. Well, in open play they've created very little, which has been the story of their games in recent weeks, but they need to try and prosper from this set piece, Mark.
Well, yeah, this would be all about the delivery, but the thing about that is everybody knows who watches Premier League football on a regular basis that you stick it in the air, Stoke's penalty area, 99% of the time they'll get on the end of it, Stoke.
So it's Van Persie who's going to take this free kick over on that right-hand side in front of the Stretford end. 4 minutes to go to the break. Manchester United 0, Stoke City 1. Robin Van Persie just checks his studs. It's his 50th start for the club. He's got a long run up here as the Dutchman. Stoke City have everybody back. Van Persie strikes it, fires it in, and headed away by the Stoke defence. It'll be collected by Jones, and it's hoofed forward, this bouncing ball. Shawcross surely manhandling Wayne Rooney. Referee Lee Mason waves away those protests, and then Shawcross to Palacios, who was due to start the opening game against Liverpool at Anfield, but had to withdraw through injury. It's his first Premier League start since. As Walters floats over the cross, Crouch tries to turn and twist his body to bring it down off the chest, and then science down Smalling. The referee, to his credit, has played the advantage, which initially broke down when Nzonzi held up Kagawa, but United now do have it with Rooney to Cleverley. Cleverley out towards Van Persie on that far side, the right. But look how many Stoke players are now behind the ball. Nani on the right. Nani's cross into the penalty area. Rooney kept out. Rebound. Van Persie. Manchester United are level. Robin Van Persie has scored for Manchester United. It is his 15th goal in his last 18 games. And boy, did Manchester United need that. It's harsh on Stoke, mind you, 1-1.
Yeah, but what did they do? Manchester United got towards the byline, squared defenders up. Cross came in, headed by Rooney, saved by Begovic, great finish by Van Persie. I think Peter Crouch is about to be booked for his tackle on, was it Smalling?
Yeah, good refereeing by Lee Mason. Excellent refereeing to let the game play on, because as a result of that, they went to the other end. It was a super save in the first instance by Begovic, but he could do nothing about the rebound. Meanwhile, in the Championship, goal at Yeovil for Seth Bennett.
Yeovil 2, Nottingham Forest 0, the second of the game for Ed Upson. Another one from range, this one into the bottom corner. Yeovil 2, Forest 0.
Let's bring you up to date with the other goals around the country as well. Blackpool now lead Blackburn by 2-1. MK Dons have equalised at Tranmere, and Newport County have conceded an equaliser. Newport County 1, Southend United 1. And there's also been a goal at the King Power for Peter Slater.
Surprise equaliser for Bournemouth 7 minutes before half-time. Ian Leicester completely dominated David Nugent with the goal, but Mark Pugh with a shot at the edge of the penalty area rocketed past Kasper Schmeichel and into the top corner. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 1.
Thank you, Peter. Here it's a free kick to Stoke City just outside the penalty area on the left.
A daft free kick given away by Jones, just into the back of the Stoke player, and just as you've got an equaliser as well, just before half-time.
Well, the ball is being placed down by Arnautovic, who actually his last league goal was in December against Hoffenheim. If you include his run for Werder Bremen, he's not scored in his last 21 matches. But he's the player who's lining up this free kick. Manchester United have everybody back. He has a little glance over the wall. Arnautovic. Oh, it's gone in! It's a super goal! De Gea couldn't keep it out! Arnautovic with his first goal for Stoke City. And put Stoke back in front just before the break. Manchester United 1, Stoke City 2.
Well, it came from a needless free kick given away most definitely. It's great technique by Arnautovic as well, and he's made as much ground as possible, De Gea, and he's got a big hand on it, but just sneaked in, I think, via the post.
He had a cheeky little look over the four-man wall. He knew where he wanted to place it, and he placed it in the near corner. De Gea did get a hand onto it, struck the underside of the crossbar and dropped down inside the goal. De Gea was unlucky.
Yeah, it was. I think also he got a hand on it and maybe even clipped the crossbar at the same time.
So his first league goal of 2013 for the Austrian international. He opens up his Stoke City account, and Stoke are back in front. Meanwhile, try at the Millennium Stadium for George Riley.
England have hit back. They had to score next, you felt, and they have. They're back to within a converted score. Big George Burgess powering over from a short pass from James Roby right in front of the post. Kevin Sinfield, the captain, has tagged on the 2. It's England 16, Australia 22.
We're in stoppage time here at Old Trafford. Stoke lead by 2-1. 2 goals, meanwhile, at Yeovil for Seth Bennett.
Incredible game this. Yeovil 3, Forest 1. Byron Webster has just restored the 2-goal advantage with a header from a corner. Before that, another header, this time from Nathaniel Chalabar to make it 2-1. But it's Yeovil who lead here by 3-1.
And that is the first time this season that they've scored more than 1 goal in the Championship for Yeovil. It's not a bad effort.
Very, very good. I think, at half-time here, if I were David Moyes, I'd be steaming into this team. They're starting to feel a little bit sorry for themselves. They're all pointing at each other, Manchester United.
Rooney with a free kick. Crowd of players in there. Does it go behind for a corner? Lee Mason says yes, it does. So it's stoppage time here. Mark Hughes can't believe that decision's been awarded. Lee Mason now is just having a word with 1 or 2 of those players. It's extremely crowded in and around that penalty area. Stoke have everybody back. Mark Hughes is complaining to the linesman on this near side. Manchester United 1, Stoke City 2. And still, words are being said.
The other thing, Ian, as well, is we notice Stoke don't put anybody on the posts. Anybody at all. They just give all that area, almost a 6-yard box, clear for the goalkeeper.
Van Persie and Shawcross are the 2 having words, and now Lee Mason is pulling Robin Van Persie towards him, and looks like he's just giving him a final warning.
You wouldn't be arguing with Shawcross, would you?
No, or Huth.
Yeah, that's sort of the word redemption comes in when it's Shawcross, doesn't it, as well?
Oh. Very good. Good film, actually.
Top 3, top 3, that.
Manchester United 1, Stoke City 2. Now the corner can be taken. It's the Stoke City supporters who are whistling. It's drilled in. No elevation at all. It was a flat ball in from that right-hand side. And referee Lee Mason has blown his half-time whistle. It's the Stoke City supporters who are cheering, but they're booing and jeering here at Old Trafford. That's because Manchester United are behind. Mark Lawrenson.
Well, just watching David Moyes there walking very, very slowly back. He'll be obviously composing himself, thinking exactly what he's going to say at half-time. He really seriously needs to get into some of the players in his team. They're trying to stroll through this game. They're very narrow, and at the moment, Stoke are by far the better team, show more aggression, quicker of mind, quicker of movement, and deserve the lead.
They certainly do. Manchester United 1, Stoke City 2.
2 bursts of booing and a half. It started when Nani shot from 40 yards and has continued at the break. A very entertaining half from a neutral point of view, though. Can Stoke keep it up? We'll go to Carrow Road. Half-time in Norwich against Cardiff. John Southall.
It's 0-0. It's been very bright. It's been very entertaining. But how on earth is this game goalless? I've rarely seen a match with so many chances. Cardiff have squandered 2 or 3. The first, Stephen Colker headed wide from 8 yards out. The second, Fraser Campbell to much. His effort was a good one, but Ruddy saved it well. But Norwich have enjoyed the greater possession. They have had so many openings. Robert Snodgrass shot wide from 12 yards. Marshall denied. Howson from the edge of the area. Furr had a shot cleared off the line. Gary Hooper tried his luck from 35 yards, which Hooper again cleared away, scrambling back. They've had a bag full of chances. Johnny Howson also saw a swerving shot parried away. Then right on half-time, we saw a brilliant double save from Marshall. Snodgrass crossed it. It was deflected. The keeper got his fingertip to it, rebounded back to Hooper, and a brilliant double save. 0-0 somehow.
To Anfield and Juliet Ferrington.
2-0 Liverpool lead at half-time against West Brom, and 2 for Luis Suarez as well. It's been all Liverpool though first half. Slick, pace, power. Suarez different class in the first. Stunning solo effort. Skipped the challenges to fire home. His second was insane off his head from the edge of the area. Henderson and Skirtle, they've come close to increasing that lead, and in stoppage time at the end of the first half, at the other end, Skirtle cleared off the line from Anelka. 2-0 Liverpool lead.
Villa Park, Pat Murphy.
Villa 0, Everton 0, major surprise. Both goalkeepers have been absolutely superb. Howard saved Benteke's penalty, he then denied Benteke and Weimann on 2 separate one-on-ones. Most remarkable save of all, Guzan from a point-blank 6-yard header from Lukaku. He then blocked Lukaku with his legs. Barkley's hit the post. It's a terrific game. Villa 0, Everton 0.
Earlier, Arsenal beat Crystal Palace 2-0 despite having Arteta sent off in the second half. We've heard that Mathieu Flamini, who was subbed in the first half, may be out for 2 weeks after picking up a groin injury. Rugby Union, more football in a moment by the way, but a try at Northampton. Chris Jones.
Well, Saracens have had a couple of good chances, Jonathan, but it's Northampton who have scored their second try. A startling break from Luther Burrell, and then Samu Manoa, who made the first try for Elliott, galloped over from more than 20 metres. Just a hush around Franklin's Garden, because Alex Good is lining up his second penalty, steps up to it from 48 metres. It's just about got the distance, but pushed to the right. So the Saints lead Saracens still by 17 points to 3.
Into the Championship. Results from earlier: Barnsley 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Huddersfield 3, Leeds 2. The top 2 at Turf Moor. Alistair Yeoman.
Slightly disappointing. Half-time, Burnley 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Joey Barton had a shot from long range just wide a couple of minutes before the break. It's vigorous, mind you. 5 bookings, and of course the sending off of Bertie B, the mascot. Apparently he was trying to hand a pair of glasses to one of the assistants. Hardly a capital offence, I wouldn't have thought.
Oh, come on, someone take that bloke out tonight. He deserves it for the comedy. Yeovil against Forest. Now, where do these goals come from, Seth Bennett?
I'll tell you what, a pulsating first 45 minutes here. Yeovil 3, Nottingham Forest 1, and it could have been so different. Yeovil took the lead on 7 minutes. Ed Upson with a volley from 20 yards. He then doubled the advantage on 39 to make it 2-0. In between, though, Forest had a penalty. It was taken by Cox, well saved by Hennessy. Cox followed up again. Hennessy equal to it, then it was cleared off the line. It looked like Forest were going to get back into it when Nathaniel Shalabar headed home from inside the 6-yard box, but Yeovil keep fighting, and they made it 3-1 via the head of Byron Webster. It thumped the post and went in before it was eventually cleared away by Forest. So what a first half. Yeovil on course for a first home win of the season. They lead Forest by 3-1.
Next up, Derby and Simon Mann.
Derby 1, Birmingham 0. A satisfactory first half of Steve McLaren. He's seen his side create 3 really good chances and take one of them 6 minutes before half-time. Martin's flick saved by Randolph. Jamie Ward turned in the loose ball. Randolph had saved from Ward and Bryson when they were through. The second of those rolling towards the line where Dan Byrne cleared. Birmingham look a bit vulnerable at the back. Their main threat, Zigic, one header from a corner over, another header from a corner hit the bar. They've also lost Chris Burke to an injury. Derby 1, Birmingham 0.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Blackpool lead Blackburn by 2-1. Jordan Rhodes, though, has got his 10th of the season for Blackburn, and Reading lead Millwall by 1-0. We're off to Doncaster now. We're racing. It's the Racing Post Trophy, and commentary from Malcolm Tomlinson.
Down towards the final 6 furlongs they go in the final Group 1 of the year. The Racing Post Trophy has been headed by Buonarroti in a white cap, showing the way by a couple of lengths, somewhat racing in second. The Grey Gatsby's prominent just in behind them, followed through by Snow Sky. Behind that one, Kingston Hill races back in 5th position as they travel past the halfway point. Pinzolo sitting back in the field with Altruistic. Chief Barker in behind them towards the rear. No move from Century, still towards the back of the pack. Dolce and Karama's back in the field, so is Johann Strauss. close. They're down towards the final 3 furlongs then, and up front it's still Buonarroti showing the way by a couple of lengths to the Grey Gatsby in second position. Somewhat is racing third towards the far side. Kingston Hill starting to pick up towards the near side. Dolce and Karama, the big outsiders, getting going from the back. Altruistic is next in the field. Inside the final 2, still Buonarroti off the front. Kingston Hill really starting to motor in second. Dolce and Karama still coming. Johann Strauss is trying to finish towards the far side, but it's Kingston Hill who's hit the front as they go inside the final furlong in the Racing Post Trophy. Kingston Hill kicking away for Andrea Razzini, leads up by 3 lengths. In second place is Johann Strauss and Dolce and Karama, but Kingston Hill's away and gone in the feature, and Kingston Hill will go on to win the Racing Post Trophy. Johann Strauss for second, Altruistic came through for third. From Dolce and Karama, a big run from the outsider in fourth. They were clear of Buonarroti, Snow Sky next to the Great Gatsby, Chief Barker well back to Pinzolo, and Century from Aidan O'Brien was last.
Thank you, Malcolm, and we'll confirm the starting prices in a few moments' time. Back to the half-times in the Championship. Leicester-Bournemouth, Peter Slater.
1 each here, Jonathan. Leicester dominated much of the half, could have scored more than the 1 goal given to them by David Nugent in the 18th minute. Lovely curling shot, his 8th of the season, and so inevitably it came to pass that Bournemouth drew level 7 minutes before the break. Mark Pugh, who scored that last-minute equaliser at Forest last week, belting the ball in from the edge of the area. Still time after that for Anthony Knockaert to graze the Bournemouth post. Leicester should be winning, but they're not. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 1 at half-time.
And the one other Championship game that I haven't given you the score of yet, Bolton 0, Ipswich 0 so far at the Reebok. So into League One we go. We'll start at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United Crewe, Derm Tanner.
Half-time, Sheffield United 2, Crewe 0. I imagine Nigel Clough quietly satisfied. Harry Maguire's stooping header from Steve McGinn's free kick gave him his opening goal as manager on 18 minutes, and 12 minutes later the same 2 combined. This time a corner from McGinn. Harry Maguire again with his head to make it 2-0. Crewe have never won at Bramall Lane. They need a huge effort to end that stat. Half-time, Sheffield United 2, Crewe 0.
All the other League One and League Two scores in just a moment. In Scotland, Kilmarnock Hearts, Ian Turner.
Kilmarnock lead 1-0, and after a terrible start to their season, Killie are now on track for a second straight win. Top scorer Chris Boyd with a very good solo effort on the 16th minute. Their supporters' elation was dampened though when Darren Barr was stretchered off after a nasty looking head injury. While Hearts have had their chances, Craig Sampson in the home goal hasn't been overworked, and Gary Locke's young side will have to rectify that in the second half if they're going to take anything from this game. Kilmarnock 1, Hearts 0.
Other scores in Scotland, Dundee United 2, St Mirren 0, and Hibs 0, Aberdeen 0. Those are the games in the Premiership today. Celtic play tomorrow. So elsewhere in League One, top of the table, Leyton Orient lead Rotherham by a 0-0. Elsewhere, Bradford 1, third place Wolves 2, Brentford 1, Shrewsbury 0, Carlisle 1, bottom club Bristol City 0. Not a great time for Sean O'Driscoll there at Ashton Gate. Colchester 0, second place Peterborough 0. Notts County Preston is goalless. Oldham 1, Swindon 0 at the break. Port Vale 0, Gillingham 1, Stevenage 1, Crawley 0. Tranmere 1, MK Dons 1, and Walsall 0, Coventry 0. And in League 2, here are the half-times as they stand. AFC Wimbledon 0, Oxford, who could go top 1. That's because top of the table, Rochdale are trailing at half-time, 1-0 away at Dagenham and Redbridge. Bristol Rovers 0, second place Chesterfield 0, Mansfield 0, Plymouth 0, and it's also goalless Exeter against Burton. Bottom club Accrington are leading 1-0 at Morecambe. Newport have a 2-1 lead over Southend. It's 0-0 between Scunthorpe and Hartlepool. Torquay lead Portsmouth 1-0. Wycombe 1, Bury 0. And Fleetwood have the lead 1-0 at York. Let's update the Rugby League. It's the World Cup which has begun today in Cardiff, and here's George Riley.
Opening game, 20 minutes to go. Australia 22, England 16. We've just had a flashpoint. Ben Westwood with blood streaming out of a head wound has been involved. Sam Burgess involved as well. England are getting themselves back into this with that George Burgess try. Remember, England led 10-0 early, but Australia dominating since then. John Wells alongside me. England have played their way back into this contest.
They have done, because they did look dead and buried for quite a long period of the opening sections of that second half. They have edged and grabbed and played their way back in, and as they get a penalty now, they also get the pressure valve relieved. They get some metres upfield and another chance when they another chance to attack in the Australian territory. And when they have been up there, they have been surgical. They have been extremely good in attack. They've been struggling in midfield, George. They're getting another great opportunity now to go at them deep in Australian territory.
England get the piggyback up the pitch. They're not done yet. 20 to go. Australia 22, England 16.
One full time in League Two. It was a 2 o'clock kickoff at Sixfields. Northampton 1, Cheltenham 1 is a result. Sebastian Vettel's on pole for the Indian Grand Prix, which you can hear tomorrow morning from 9 o'clock on 5 Live. And a couple of other things to mention later tonight. Barcelona against Real Madrid, 5 o'clock kickoff. We'll update you, we'll let you know whether Bale's playing as well, El Clasico. And the Women's World Cup qualifiers, Wales against England starts just after 7 at the New Den. You can hear that on Sports Extra. Scotland play Northern Ireland as well. This is 5 Live Sport on a Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock, the latest news with Claire McDonnell.
On digital radio, digital TV, mobile and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The government has hit back at claims that its changes to disability benefits in England, Scotland and Wales are in chaos. The introduction of personal independence payments, due to start on Monday, will now only take place in selected areas. Ministers insist the phased introduction was a deliberate decision. Weather forecasters are warning of significant disruption if a powerful storm hits southern England and Wales tomorrow evening as predicted. The Met Office says people should be prepared for winds of up to 80 miles an hour. A former flatmate and chauffeur to Jimmy Savile has appeared before magistrates in Manchester, accused of more than 30 sex offences against 15 young girls. Ray Terrett, who's 72, is charged with offences over 4 decades. The investment bank JP Morgan has agreed to pay more than $5 billion to the US mortgage regulator over the bank's sale of risky mortgage-backed securities. They were a key factor in the collapse of the US housing market in 2007. And the White House has admitted that recent spying revelations, including a claim that German Chancellor Angela Merkel's phone calls were tapped, have led to significant tensions with European governments. The US has insisted that David Cameron's conversations have not been monitored.
The Health Secretary says that society has failed to confront the issue of loneliness among elderly people.
Each and every lonely person has someone who could visit them and offer companionship. A forgotten million who live amongst us, ignored to our national shame.
When you hear Jeremy Hunt speaking there, do you recognise any of what he's saying?
Well, I do, because I am very lonely. I have a carer who's charming, but she doesn't live here. That doesn't help, does it?
No, it's not the same at all, is it?
BBC Radio 5 Live, where news comes to life.
Half-times in the Aviva Premiership in Rugby Union. Exeter 14, Worcester 6, Harlequins 9, Sale 3. WTA Championship Tennis in Istanbul. Here's Russell Fuller.
Serena Williams is in some physical discomfort. She's been crying into her towel at the change of ends in this semi-final with Jelena Jankovic. She's not fully committing to the serve. She's moving very languidly around the court. But, and you knew there was a but coming, with the power at her disposal, she's still proving a little bit too good. She's taken the first set 6-4 with the winner to play Lee Na in tomorrow's final.
Scottish Championship. Alloa 0, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 0, Cowdenbeath 0, Hamilton 1, Falkirk 0, goalless Livingston Dundee, Wraith lead Morton 1-0. In League 1, Adrian's 1, Adrian's 0, Ayr 0, Brechin 1, Arbroath 0, East Fife and Rangers is 0-0, Stenhousemuir 1, Forfar 1, Stranraer 1, Dunfermline 0. Is Lee Mason going to give us time for Division 2? Just about. Clyde 2, Stirling 0, Elgin 2, Annan 1, Montrose 1, East Stirling 0, Peterhead 0, Berwick 1, Queen's Park 1, Albion 0. Cue the ref's whistle. Cue Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, what a 45 minutes lie ahead, and what a 15-minute team talk. We'll see what it was from David Moyes, because I would imagine what your description is the measure of champions, but the Manchester United players now need to prove themselves, don't they, Mark Lawrenson?
They need individually and collectively to ask themselves a question here, because Stoke have just been a better team in every single way.
And Mark Lawrenson knows all about responding, of course, during the titles that he picked up at Liverpool. But the champions of England have once again, and not for the first time, which is the most worrying aspect, been second best at home. They're behind, trailing 2-1 against a Stoke City side who've not won on this ground since 1976. They've collected 1 point out of a possible 30. It's their worst record in the Premier League against any other side. But deservedly, they are ahead. And in fact, it could have been more as well. Certainly you think of that De Gea save from Walters after 27 minutes. And Manchester United have created very little. Only the one save that Begovic has made, and that led to the goal, keeping out Rooney's header and then Van Persie with the rebound. The only statistic that might be able to offer any encouragement for Manchester United fans is that in the previous 24 games, whenever Robin Van Persie has scored, they are undefeated. However, it is a sequence that might well be in jeopardy, the way that they've played so far, because Manchester United second best. Nani on this right-hand side. No changes have been made by either side, so United in their red shirts, white shorts and black socks are playing from left to right. Stoke are attacking the Stretford end in their chain strip, predominantly charcoal grey, a little bit of white and luminous green. Kagawa to Jones. Carrick, the only outfield ever present in the Premier League this season for Manchester United. But again, it's too easy. You can read it, the passing. It needs to have an increase of tempo, one would suspect, as it's out towards that left-hand side. In comes the cross from Evra, easily headed away by Shawcross, comes out to Carrick. His last goal was against Stoke City at the Britannia Stadium back in April. Evra looking to go on the outside of Walters. It's a high ball from the left-hand side, and Arnautovic will head it past Nani, and then the Austrian will come forward. Thought about going to ground, does the step over, and then has time to pick out Nzonzi. And Nzonzi in the centre circle with a forward ball to Ireland. And already Stoke are on the attack as they've switched it towards that right-hand side. And Walters has space for Stoke City. It's Walters' cross that takes a bit of a deflection and is collected by De Gea.
But how easy was that for Stoke just to play through Manchester United?
They seem to be a different level to Manchester United, the way that they're doing it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Half-time now at Franklin Gardens. Northampton Saracens, Chris Jones.
Cracking first half this, Ian, brimming with pace and intensity. Northampton lead by 17 points to 6. They've scored 2 excellent tries. First, Jamie Elliott went over after some fine offloading from Sam Dickinson and Sammy Manoa, and then the England hopeful Luther Burrell made a clean line break. The ball was recycled to Manoa, who sidestepped and scored from more than 20 metres. Saracens have had some chances of their own, especially when Alex Good was denied by opposite man Ben Foden, but all Sarries have on the board is 2 good penalties. Northampton 17, Saracens 6.
One would suspect it might be a lively 606 with Robbie Savage and Darren Fletcher later on. After Sports Report 0500 909 and 693. Arnautovic, I don't think he's going to be in a position to continue. Wilson is going to be coming on to replace him, I think. Stoke are going to be making a change. However, we have already had texts in on the usual number 85058. Ray in Chelmsford, loads of boos here in our front room. Phil in Chester, if Manchester United are beaten again today, it will signal the end of any title defence, whatever Moyes says. Most important 45 minutes of his career. Bet Meg says Moyes must go tonight, players not playing for him. No endorse it. So Jones gave away a needless free kick which resulted in the goal. Moyes needs to kick them up the backside as Fergie would have played merry hell. I'm reading this blind, by the way. How was this allowed to happen at Manchester United? Ed Woodward is to blame. No top player will want to play there. Rooney and Van Persie will want to go if poor play continues. And Mac, dark days. United has lost its fear factor. So that's just a flavour of some of the people who've been texting into 5 Live on 85058.
If you're reading that blind, you're in the wrong job.
Here is Evra. You haven't changed, have you? Here is Palacios, who's just sat there, hasn't he? Quietly, but done his job.
Yeah, and he's defended when he has to. He's passed the ball simply, as in, just there. Look, great play by Stoke.
Mark Hughes looking for his 100th win as a manager in the Premier League. And it might come at Old Trafford, where, of course, he had such an illustrious career as a player in 2 spells. Latest scores around the country. Port Vale have equalised at home to Gillingham as we go back to the Millennium Stadium and George Riley.
67 gone, Australia 24, England 16. The Aussies having weathered a second half England storm. They've just nudged themselves further clear with a 2-pointer, a penalty from Thurston. He's kicked 4 of 5. Crucially, that means they're now 2 scores ahead. And England have got Sam Burgess placed on report. That means subject to a disciplinary review. He could be banned after a high shot on Sam Friday. 13 to go, 24-16.
Commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, and we'll also have commentary of Wales against Italy, followed tonight at 7:05 by the Women's World Cup qualifier from the new Den at Millwall. England take on Wales, and England will no doubt be looking to continue their winning start to that group under Brent Hills. Rangers are leading East Fife 1-0 in Scotland. 5 minutes into the second half, Manchester United still trailing by 2-1. Van Persie. Stoke have got a high line. They're about 30 yards out from goal. They're pushing up and preventing Manchester United from getting in round the back of them at the moment. They're playing in front of United. It's very comfortable for Stoke City as Evra's low cross. Here is Rooney looking to turn. The angle is tight. Goes behind for a corner. Came off Shawcross.
Yeah, did well. Rooney reacted quicker than anybody. In the end, Shawcross just got a block in it.
So it's a corner kick which, with all the urgency in the world, Wayne Rooney will go across to take over on that far side, the left. Stoke City leading by 2-1. And I can see Valencia and Januzaj also warming up away to our left. In comes the corner, headed away by Crouch, who got the first goal for Stoke. Remember, they'd only scored 4 goals until today all season, the lowest scorers in the country. Here is Rooney. Rooney with a cross on the left-hand side. Huth is up, and it was a towering header away as Bristol City have equalised at Brunton Park. Carlisle United 1, Bristol City 1. Rangers now leading by 2-0 at East Fife. Cleverly to Carrick, just outside the centre circle. Carrick looks for a ball into that space behind that high line of the Stoke defence, but it goes out for a goal.
Not like him, in fairness. He normally is a very, very good passer. I just wonder this might be a chance to get the kid on, Januzaj on.
The other attacking options: Hernandez, Ashley Young, Valencia.
I just think if the kid comes on here, the whole stadium will, obviously apart from the Stoke bit here, but the whole stadium will go, and I think it will lift everybody, and also give somebody for Manchester United that width down the left. So himself down the left, he got Nani down the right hand side. Try and stretch Stoke out a little bit more.
Morecambe have equalised, unbeaten at home this season. Morecambe 1, Accrington Stanley 1. And I should say as well, Archie picked me up on Twitter when I'd said earlier that Peter Crouch never been on the winning side in 17 attempts. I forgot to mention it was in the league. Of course, as a Liverpool fan, Archie corrected that he had been for Liverpool against Manchester United, but drawn 4, lost 13 was his record in the league. But at the minute, Stoke leading by 2-1. He will change all that. We welcome listeners from the BBC World Service to Old Trafford, where we have a surprising scoreline, or is it that surprising? Manchester United 1, Stoke City 2. Given that West Bromwich Albion won here a few weeks ago, and Southampton, as you would have heard wherever you may be in the world last week, deservedly held Manchester United to a 1-1 draw. Well, the champions of England are behind. It was Peter Crouch who gave Stoke the lead after 4 minutes. Van Persie equalised just before half-time after Begovic produced a wonderful save to keep out Rooney's header. Arnautovic then with a free kick that De Gea couldn't keep out on the stroke of half-time. And that is where we are 9 minutes into this second half. Manchester United trailing. Remember, 7 points off, 7 points worse off than they were at the same stage last season after 8 games. If they were to lose today, there would be 11 adrift of Arsenal, who extended their lead at the top of the table to 5 points before the 3 o'clock games. But of course, Liverpool leading against West Brom by 2-0 will have that lead whipped back down to 2. Here is Huth, the shaven-headed German, as in their charcoal changed strips of grey, cuts the ball out for a throw. Manchester United playing from left to right. They go back, Smalling and Jones, and to Evans. Here is Cleverly collecting the ball outside the centre circle, keeping up to date with all of the goals as they go in around the grounds as well. And then it's with Nani to Kagawa. Kagawa out towards Cleverly once more. Cleverly looks up. Instead, it's towards Carrick. They're playing in front of Stoke City, who have everybody back behind the ball bar Crouch. Rooney's little layoff has given the ball away. Comes out to Cleverly. Kagawa outside the penalty area. Evra goes on the outside. Kagawa looks to come on the inside, and he ran into traffic. And Stoke have easily cleared by Cameron. Only as far as Evans. Carrick to Cleverly. Rooney's taking up a position on that far side, the left. Here is Rooney. Support behind from Evra, level the penalty area, cleverly taken out by Palacios as he tried to skip away from the Honduran. Free kick, direct free kick, left of centre outside the area.
Great play by Cleverly. He sensed that the tackle was coming in. He just touched the ball from Palacios, and sure enough, Palacios went right through him, and it's a very poor tackle actually.
Bottom of the table, Bristol City, without a win since March the 9th, have come from behind. Carlisle United 1, Bristol City 2. There might be respite for Sean O'Driscoll's side. MK Dons are leading at Tranmere. Tranmere yet to win this season. Tranmere 1, MK Dons 2. Dagenham and Redbridge now lead the League 2 leaders. Rochdale 2-0 and Newport County 3, Southend United 1. Now, free kick. Important moment here at Old Trafford. Manchester United behind by 2-1. Free kick, direct. It's left of centre. It's just outside the penalty area. Begovic is trying to line up his wall to protect that right-hand post as he moves away now, the Bosnian.
This is just where Arnautovic scored from, wasn't it?
It was. Will it be Rooney or Van Persie? It's Rooney leaving it for Van Persie into the wall. Strikes the wall, comes out to Cleverly. Cleverly seemed to wait for the ball to settle before he goes back towards Jones. And as it comes out towards Cleverly, he's quickly closed down by the substitute Wilson. Didn't put the ball out of touch though. In comes the cross from Cleverly. Down the throat of Begovic. Goal at Anfield, Juliet Farrington.
And Luis Suarez gets his hat-trick. 3-0 now. Liverpool lead. He headed home from Steven Gerrard's free kick. Liverpool's dominance, and they lead by 3-0.
Another try in Cardiff for George Riley.
And another try for Australia. Darius Boyd squeezing in with 10 minutes to go past Josh Charnley down the left flank. 28-16, so it's 2 converted tries in the last 10 minutes just to pull England level. It looks as though it's game over.
Coventry going well at the minute, and they're leading at Walsall by 1-0 in our featured game in League One. It's at Bramall Lane, another goal for Derm Tanner.
And it's Sheffield United 3, Crewe 0. Simon Lappin, strong run, through ball to Ryan Flynn, a crisp finish. Nigel Clough will be beaming. 3-0 Sheffield United.
Gareth Bale is starting for Real Madrid against Barcelona, El Clasico. Here, Mark Lawrenson was right. Januzaj, the sights of the teenager coming on, lifts the crowd. Can it lift the performance? That's the question.
Well, I am surprised in a way that Nani's come off. Not that Nani's played particularly well, but he's the only person down the right-hand side that's really given Manchester United any width.
So Januzaj for Nani. Rangers 3-0 up away at East 5 in League One. Swindon Town have equalised. Oldham 1, Swindon Town 1. And we're up to date with all of the goals as they go in around the country here. Manchester United don't need a goal. They're trailing by 2-1. And frankly, they need 2. Because even a draw wouldn't be classed as good enough for the champions of England against Stoke City. Van Persie, far side the left. And the cross is high and deep and drifts out of play, and that will be a goal kick. And so Stoke City with a slender advantage. They're doing their job.
Yeah, they are. They've had a little bit of a summit meeting as well down there. Mark Bowen and Mark Hughes, Eddie Niedzwiecki, just wonder whether they might make a change just to react to what Manchester United have done.
No doubt about it. This game will be sure featured first on Match of the Day tonight. Slightly earlier time, 10:20. It's repeated at 7:10 in the morning, but bearing in mind the clocks go back tonight, I know which one I'll be watching. Don't say anything, Laura. Don't say anything. Here is Peters on the left. It would only have been disparaging anyway. Here is Crouch taking it off the chest. Nice turn as well, and playing the ball forward to Ireland, attacking the Stretford end. Ireland will keep the ball in play down on this near side, the left, and wins a throw off the knees of Jones. Good play by Stephen Ireland for Stoke City. And it'll be Peters who'll shuffle his way forward. A signing from PSV in the summer for £3 million. And eventually gets it back from Wilson, and running into him was Smalling, and it's out for another Stoke City throw. Early today, Arsenal beat Crystal Palace 2-0. They've lost 6 games in a row now, Crystal Palace, for the first time since March 2001. Manchester United trying to bring the ball away with Kagawa. Januzaj's taken up a position on this near side, the right, but it's over on that far side, the left, for the red shirts of Manchester United. Kagawa out towards Cleverly. But once again, Stoke have Plenty of shirts back behind the ball as Rooney is challenged by Cameron coming out of position from right back, but as he did so, Walters dropped back. Well organised, well disciplined Stoke City. Let's go to Carrow Road. John Southall.
Norwich 0, Cardiff 0. We've had a moment of contention. Robert Snodgrass played Gary Hooper in through the middle. Hooper turned in his shot, certainly hit Stephen Coulker on the hand in the penalty area. Norwich wanted the penalty. Referee Mike Jones waved it away. Hooper's looked really lively this afternoon. Also seen a header float over the bar. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0.
Liverpool are leading West Bromwich Albion by 3-0. It's still 0-0 between Aston Villa and Everton. We'll be getting the team news from our 5:30 kickoff. Southampton against Fulham, which will have updates of during Sports Report with Will Perry. In the meantime, let's go back to Anfield and Juliet Farrington.
And it's all Liverpool. 3-0 they lead here, and surely they've wrapped this one up with a Luis Suarez hat-trick, but Daniel Sturridge desperately trying to get in on the act. His shot hit the crossbar, smashed off. Maybe this just won't be his day. Liverpool are rampant. 3-0 they lead.
Two results early today in the Championship. Barnsley 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. So Sheffield Wednesday still without a win this season. Huddersfield Town beat Leeds United by 3-2. And these are the latest scores in the Championship. Blackpool 2, Blackburn 1, Bolton 0, Ipswich 0, Burnley 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Derby still lead Birmingham by 1-0, looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 for Steve McLaren. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 1, Reading 1, Millwall 0, Yeovil leading Nottingham Forest by 3-1. There's been another try for George Riley in Cardiff.
And a try for Josh Charnley. Kevin Sinfield needs this to go over though, and he's pulled it, so England 8 points behind with time running out. Josh Charnley hacking forward after a misplaced pass from Billy Slater. He touched down, but Sinfield has dragged his conversion wide. England have about 5 minutes to score twice.
Closing stages on 5 Live Sports Extra as Ireland dives in and catches Januzaj, and Italy, who surprisingly beat England in that final warm-up game last weekend, are taking on Wales at 4:30, and you'll also be able to hear that game on Sports Extra. I don't think Ireland can have any complaints there, Mark Lawrenson.
No, I think he is complaining. I think he's saying that he caught the ball, but too late now anyway. No complaints.
So free kick to Manchester United. Do you expect more intensity from United in this second half?
I'm sat here thinking, you're almost saying, like, why isn't anybody urging them on here? The crowd are trying to do their bit. It's just nice, easy, simple passing. It's in front of Stoke all the time.
It's almost as if there's a resignation from the supporters that
they're not good enough.
No. Dundee United lead St Mirren by 3-0. Here is Kagawa to Carrick. Carrick to Januzaj on this near side, the right. Januzaj has got to get past 2 Stoke City players. He pulls the ball back towards Carrick. Here is Cleverley for Manchester United. They can't find that penetration. That's what they're lacking in that final third, Manchester United. Where's the guile? Well, Januzaj to Cleverley. Low ball into the penalty area, turned behind by Robert Huth for a corner. That was better.
That was the guile as well. Januzaj, a little bit of a sort of very discreet left-footed pass that nobody else expected apart from Cleverley.
So Robin van Persie waits for a long-haired chap in a white t-shirt to throw the ball down from the stand behind that goal away to our right, and he places the ball down in the quadrant. It's a corner kick for Manchester United. Van Persie to take it left-footed, headed away by Wilson at the near post, helped further clear then by Ireland, and Cleverley will play a ball back that has put De Gea under pressure, and if Walters can get there before De Gea, he can't. De Gea made the challenge, last touch came off Walters. Cleverley, no wonder he holds his hands up. He sold the goalkeeper short, and De Gea's desire just in the end got there ahead of Jonathan Walters as Januzaj is caught again, and Stoke City have given away another free kick, and this might be Palacios going in the bucket. Indeed it is.
Yeah, it was a foul for the team, because all of a sudden Stoke were on the back foot, weren't they, and Januzaj was running at them some 35 yards away from goal.
Well, I said earlier in the first half, maybe that was the wake-up for Manchester United. There isn't a wake-up call, it would seem, because Cleverley again was far too sloppy. Manchester United trailing. Stoke deservedly ahead by 2-1. 64 minutes played. Free kick that Wayne Rooney will stand over on that far side, the left. Midway through the Stoke City half. Rooney to take it. In it comes. Headed away by Crouch 12 yards out. Comes to Jones. Kills the ball dead. Back out towards Rooney on that far side. Rooney looking to get away from Walters. Left corner of the penalty area. Challenge made by Ireland. Comes to Kagawa. Kagawa into the penalty area and sliced off the right foot of Huth and behind for a corner.
Yeah, just a little bit lucky in the end, Manchester United. Just it was a poor ball by Kagawa. It's just chipped in, and Huth should have actually dealt with it much easier than he did.
A week ago, they conceded a late goal and they were held by Southampton. Today, they're in search of an equaliser. There's the cry of United. In comes the corner. Begovic will gather quite easily at the near post and he'll throw the ball out, and Walters is already running, and a little glance over the right shoulder, but 2 bounces and it goes away from him.
No, he was running through treacle for the last 15 yards.
And he was also outnumbered with Cleverley and Evra. United starting to build up ahead of steam, but they're still behind. What about Villa against Everton? Pat Murphy.
It's still 0-0, still frantic. Villa have the territorial supremacy in this second half, kicking into the Holt end. Benteke's shot deflected onto the roof of the net. Just now, McCarthy booked for a late tackle on Westwood. Could have seen another colour. Villa 0, Everton 0.
Stoke City need to be careful. They need to keep their discipline. They've given away 3 fouls, 3 free kicks in the last 2 or 3 minutes. There's another one. And Rangers now leading East Fife by 4-0. Bolton are leading Ipswich 1-0. And Port Vale have come from behind against Peter Taylor's Gillingham at Vale Park. Port Vale 2, Gillingham 1. Here is Kagawa to Carrick. 30 yards out from goal. Carrick will shoot. Blocked by Palacios. Comes out to Janusaj near side the right. United still behind. Janusaj's low ball. Cleared away then by Peters, the left back. Crouch looking to tangle with Jones. Wilson's caught Jones. That's another free kick. The referee needs to stamp this out.
It should be and is a booking.
So Lee Mason will have a word with the substitute as we go to the Millennium Stadium. Full time in the opening game of the Rugby League World Cup. England-Australia. George Riley.
England have been beaten. Australia winning 28 points to 20. A tough week ends with a loss but a spirited defeat for England. Plenty of positives there. A bit of ill discipline towards the end as Australia ran away, but England looked really good for 20 minutes or so and led 10-0. Hall and Cudjoe, but then the Aussies found their form and outscored England 5 tries to 4. Could have been a few more as well, but England will take heart. They have been beaten 28-20.
The League 2 leaders, Rochdale, have got a goal back. Dagenham and Redbridge 2, Rochdale 1. Cleverley is coming off. Hernandez is coming on. So Hernandez, midway through the second half, replaces Tom Cleverley. The Mexican looking for his first Premier League goal this season. United looking to get back on level terms as Whelan's going to be coming on for Stoke City. Mark Hughes is ready to make a change for the visitors. Peters to Wilson, and Huth will clear, and Hernandez was late there on Huth. Meanwhile, there's been a goal at Anfield for Juliet Farrington.
And it's a goal for West Bromwich Albion, and it's gone to a penalty for James Morrison. They've got themselves back into this game. 3-1 Liverpool lead. The penalty was awarded by the assistant referee after it was a foul on Billy Jones by Sissoko, but it was the assistant referee who gave it, not John Moss. But West Brom are back into this one. 3-1 Liverpool lead.
And here a yellow card to Hernandez. He was late and high.
He was late and high, yeah. And I just wondering if that would have been at Stoke, their home ground, I think there could well have been a red there, most definitely. Referee's assistant is 5 yards away. He was probably too close, wasn't he?
Goal at Leicester City for Peter Slater in the Championship.
Goal, and as you come over, a sending off as well. Leicester lead by 2-1. Jamie Vardy with it. Chris Wood, the substitute, chipped the ball over the top of the defence. Vardy used his pace, beat Ryan Alsop to the ball and put the ball into the net. And now Elliot Ward, booked in the first half for a foul on Vardy, has just been sent off by referee Andy Davies for a second bookable offence, this time for a foul on Danny Drinkwater. Bournemouth down to 10 men and Leicester lead 2-1.
And in the top of the table clash at Turf Moor, there's been a goal for Alistair Yeomans.
And you can hear it from the crowd. It's gone to Burnley, a give and go. Sam Vokes, Danny Ings beating Rob Green, and Burnley, after 65 minutes, had the lead against Queen's Park Rangers.
And the only unbeaten league record might well be going today. Burnley looking for a 7th successive league win. Glenn Whelan has replaced Palacios. That might not be a bad thing, bearing in mind he could have get a second yellow.
Oh, but he's only replaced him because they don't want Palacios sent off. Another booking, yeah.
And Huth is back on the field of play, but he was clearly angered by the assistant referee. He gave him a volley of abuse for only a yellow card to Hernandez.
Well, obviously, I was being facetious, as you know, but it's 5 yards away, the referee's assistant, staring right down the barrel at the challenge.
Colchester United, 11 in the league without a win, are leading at home to Peterborough United. Peterborough second, losing at Colchester. Colchester 1, Peterborough 0. Goal now for Villa Park. Pat Murphy.
Lukaku for Everton, fine move. Baines to Osman. He wasn't tight enough on Lukaku, swept in with the left foot. It's Villa 0, Everton 1.
Fleetwood Town are now leading at York City by 2-0. Kilmarnock now lead Hearts 2-0. We'll get details of that goal from Ian Turner. And here there hasn't been any further goals to tell you. Stoke City still lead by 2-1. Januzaj with a cross on the right-hand side. Good header by Cameron, tucked in to challenge with Hernandez. Carrick will head the ball forward. Walters will head it away for Stoke City. Arsenal beat Crystal Palace earlier 2-0. Everton are 1-0 up at Villa Park. Liverpool lead West Brom 3-1. No goals between Norwich and Cardiff. But here at Old Trafford, the story yet again is that the champions of England who are behind. Long ball into the penalty area. Easily dealt with by the header away by Cameron. And Nzonzi will bring the ball forward. Now for Stoke City is a goal at Pride Park for Simon Mann.
Equaliser for Birmingham, Derby 1, Birmingham 1. Really fine goal by substitute Lee Novak. His first touch, Derby cleared the ball. It's played back in, everyone waiting for offside. Novak onto it and he thumped in a volley. Derby 1, Birmingham 1.
Tranmere Rovers have equalised against MK Dons. It's now Tranmere 2, MK Dons 2 in League 1. And Bury have equalised through Tom Sawes at Wickham. Wickham 1, Bury 1. Let's get details of that goal at Kilmarnock. Ian Turner.
Second of the match, 6th of the season for Chris Boyd. Broke the offside trap as the keeper advanced. He just neatly dinked it over him into the corner of the net. Kilmarnock 2, Hearts 0.
Cross comes in from the left-hand side. Looking to attack it was Huth, and he'll marshal that defence as Crouch tries to stop the ball from reaching Smalling. Smalling goes back towards Jones. Manchester United still trailing 2-1. Stoke City, who haven't won at this ground in 37 years. Alan Bloor got the goal for Tony Waddington's side all those years ago. Ireland will come forward now for Stoke City, who are playing from right to left. And he has support from Whelan, the substitute. He'll turn and go back to Nzonzi, playing it forward to Ireland. This is Whelan, the Irish international, to his fellow Irishman Walters, who lays it off, and patiently they're going forward. And now it's Nzonzi who starts to run at the United defence, and he lays the ball out towards the left. And this is Wilson. It's a first-time cross into the penalty area. Walters couldn't control it. Rooney will pick up that ball. Mark Hughes turns away in disgust. Is there a counter-attack on now for United? It's Rooney out towards Januzaj. Kagawa, Hernandez, Van Persie in the penalty area. Januzaj towards Rooney, just outside the box. Rooney waits. Januzaj, shot charged down by Whelan. Up into the air it goes, and Stoke City will look to clear. Mark Lawrenson.
Well, just for a second as well, and it was 5 Manchester United players against 4 Stoke defenders. And in the end, they just ran the ball into the middle of the Stoke defenders.
In our featured game in the Aviva Premiership, the leaders Saracens are at Northampton. There's been a try. Chris Jones.
Northampton are rampant in. They've scored their 3rd try. George PC and Luther Burrell with strong carries. And then Ben Foden, who's having a really decent game today, muscled over from short range. The Saints are deep in Saracens' territory now. They've opted to go for the corner a few times rather than kick the goal. They know they're on top. Saracens facing their first defeat in the league this season. Northampton 22, Saracens 6.
I'm conscious that at just after 4:30 here in Manchester, where there are blue skies above Old Trafford, and Manchester United are trailing against Stoke City, we could be in for a frantic finish. But as we always try to do, let's bring you the latest scores as a rundown of the games in League 1, followed by League 2. But here we are in League 1. Bradford City 1, Wolves 2, Brentford 1, Shrewsbury 0, Carlisle 1, Bristol City 3. So they're heading for their first win since March. Colchester United 1, Peterborough 0. The leaders Leyton Orient looking to go 3 points clear then of Wolves, leading against Rotherham United. Notts County 0, Preston 0, Oldham 1, Swindon 1, Port Vale lead Gillingham 2-1. Sheffield United with Nigel Clough's first game, leading 3-0 against Crewe. Stevenage 1, Crawley 0, Tranmere 2, MK Dons 2, and Coventry are still leading at Walsall by 1-0. And in League 2, a result from earlier today: Northampton 1, Cheltenham 1. Oxford are going top because they're leading at Wimbledon by 1-0, and Rochdale are losing at Dagenham and Redbridge 2-1. Bristol Rovers 0, Chesterfield 0. Exeter and Burton, Mansfield and Plymouth are both goalless. Morecambe 1, Accrington 1. Newport County lead Southend by 3-1. No goals between Scunthorpe and Hartlepool United. Torquay lead Portsmouth by a goal to nil at Plainmoor. Wycombe 1, Bury 1, and Fleetwood are leading at Bootham Crescent. York City 0, Fleetwood Town 2, and Ipswich have equalised at Bolton in the Championship. David McGoldrick with that goal for Mick McCarthy's side. Rooney out to Januzaj. United trailing by 2-1. Januzaj waits as he edges Wilson back. Wilson tries to stay with him. The teenager spreads the ball out towards that far side. Evra will keep the ball in play. Evra's cross in from the left. Rooney tried to attack it on the volley. May have got a knock in the process. Hernandez slices it out for a goal kick.
Yeah, just it was better pressure from Manchester United, wasn't it? The ball came in, driven cross by Evra, and for a minute it looked as though Rooney actually hurt himself trying to get a left foot volley away.
Manchester United haven't lost at home to a team beginning with the letter S since February 1992. A run that stretches 60 fixtures and 21 years. Southampton in an FA Cup tie all those years ago. Stoke City, whose dreadful run at Old Trafford goes back even farther, are leading here by 2-1, and it will be a scoreline that will send further shockwaves around Old Trafford.
It will. Well, around the country as well, most definitely. Man, you do need to get out more.
Manchester United have a shake of the head from Loro, have made another change. Smalling has gone off, and Valencia is the one who has come on.
So he's just going to play like for like in terms of at right back, but he's going to bomb on. So down the right hand side now with the kid on as well, and Valencia.
So that's the third and final change by David Moyes, and we have 13 and a half minutes of normal time remaining for Stoke City to get a famous victory when you consider that they've suffered 10 consecutive defeats at Old Trafford. But their game plan, just as West Brom and Southampton in previous weeks, has worked a treat. Januzaj on the right now for Manchester United. Valencia on the overlap. Valencia on the right-hand side into the penalty area, cleared by Whelan. Now what will be important is whether Stoke sit back or do what West Brom did and try and go forward.
I don't think Stoke can get out of their half, so that's a question to that answered, really.
Valencia with a throw on the right-hand side, looking to Januzaj, and that was a foul by Wilson. Free kick to Manchester United.
Daft foul as well, daft free kick to give away.
Hartlepool United, who are aiming for a fifth successive win in the league, are trailing at Glanford Park. Scunthorpe 1, Hartlepool United 0. Free kick for Manchester United here. Trailing 2-1. United with Rooney. Rooney in, headed behind by Wilson for a corner kick. And we have 13 minutes remaining. Oldham Athletic have retaken the lead. Danny Philliskirk at Boundary Park. Oldham Athletic 2, Swindon Town 1. Robin van Persie places the ball down for Manchester United. Corner kick on this right-hand side. Takes it left-footed. Rooney's header! It's in! Wayne Rooney brings Manchester United level. Stoke couldn't hang on, and Manchester United now will go in search of a winner. But at least Rooney has levelled.
Well, firstly, it's a lovely corner taken by Van Persie. Brilliant from Rooney. He knew it's as though like he had a sly look, see where the goalkeeper was, and he flicked it just towards the far post. Absolutely brilliant. He knew exactly what he was doing. He got enough height on it to take it over Begovic, got the direction right and the pace. Brilliant.
It was perfectly placed, and there was nothing that Begovic could do as it found its way into the top left-hand corner as we look.
And as far as Stoke are concerned, that stupid foul down here led to the goal and eventually the corner.
Now David Moyes is out and he's barking at his players. And rather perversely, the United supporters have also found their voice when they're level as they go in search of a winner. Goal at Anfield, Juliet Farrington.
4-1 Liverpool, and Daniel Sturridge has got his goal after Luis Suarez's hat-trick. It was a delightful chip over the keeper and into the back of the net. 4-1 Liverpool lead.
Stoke City on the attack on that right-hand side. Cross headed away by Jones. Januzaj to Rooney. Rooney comes forward. Wayne Rooney quickly closed down by Whelan. Has support from Valencia on this right-hand side. David Moyes is up and making gestures to his forward. His front three of Hernandez, Van Persie and Kagawa, who collects the ball on his chest over on that far side, the left. Under the blue skies here at Old Trafford. Has support behind him from Evra. Evra leaves it for the Japanese international. And now it's with Carrick. They still need a winner. A draw still would not be good enough for Manchester United.
No.
Januzaj to Carrick. The referee does the step over as it reaches, trickles its way through to Carrick. Here is Evra looking to get around the back. Good cross. Hernandez! Manchester United have turned the game on its head. Hernandez with a header. 2 goals in rapid fire time. Manchester United 3, Stoke City 2.
Well, this is Manchester United of old, isn't it? Evra again, absolutely brilliantly. He must have, in this game, got himself behind the opposition fullback probably 7 or 8 different occasions, a variety of different crosses, and that was an absolutely brilliant cross. But also Hernandez's movement in, if you just watch him, he knew it was coming, and he made it look very, very simple the way he took that goal.
2 goals in 2 minutes? Javier Hernandez with his first goal in the Premier League, and David Moyes, who only before had been talking about their movement to spin off their players, actually made a point of applauding with his hands above his head to the Mexican international. And the crowd now inside Old Trafford is singing, "Who are you, who are you?" Well, I'll tell you who Stoke City are. They're a side that has given Manchester United a massive scare this afternoon, and only in the last 10 minutes have Manchester United led for the first time here. Charlie Adams going to be coming on for Stoke City. Mark Hughes is going to make a change. A goal at Bramall Lane in League One for Derm Tanner.
It's not a perfect afternoon for Nigel Clough's crew. Have got one back. Chukwuemeka, lovely sliding goal under George Long. It's Sheffield United 3, Crew 1.
Try at Northampton, Chris Jones.
Bonus point try for Northampton. They're taking the leaders Saracens apart here. Ben Foden with the 4th, his 2nd of the day, after a clever Stephen Myler grubber through. Is Foden making a late dart into that England matchday squad for Australia next Saturday? Myler converted brilliantly. Northampton 29, Saracens 6.
Goal at Villa Park, Pat Murphy.
Second one for Everton. Leon Osman passed it into the net from 15 yards. Guzan unsighted. Villa 0, Everton 2.
So Norwich 0, Cardiff 0. Liverpool lead West Bromwich Albion by 4 goals to 1. As we've just been hearing from Pat, Everton now have a cushion at Villa Park. Villa yet to keep a clean sheet in their last 16 league games at home now. But here at Old Trafford, Manchester United have turned the game on its head, leading by 3 goals to 2. Corner kick though for Stoke, headed away by Van Persie from Adams' corner on the left-hand side. Hernandez to Januzaj, Januzaj towards Hernandez, and it will be Peters who has to cover to drill the ball out of play for a throw. And now all of a sudden when they're going forward, there is a bit more in pace about United's attack.
Well, not only that, I mean, Valencia's coming at right back, bombing forward. Januzaj down the right-hand side, obviously the same. Hernandez up front, Rooney's dropped off, Van Persie. All of a sudden, this is the intensity that Manchester United should have started the game at.
And now the Manchester United supporters once again are in good voice. They needed their crowd earlier on when they really were labouring. But it's only after the players have delivered are the supporters now doing their bit. Hibs 0, Aberdeen 1 at Easter Road in Scotland. Preston North End are leading at Notts County by a goal to 0. Simon Grayson's side continue to going well. Going to be a nervous finish there at Brunton Park for Bristol City. Carlisle United have reduced the arrears. Carlisle 2, Bristol City 3, and Oxford United, who could be the new leaders of League 2, now leading at Wimbledon 2-0. Portsmouth have equalised at Plainmoor. Torquay 1, Portsmouth 1. You bang up to date with all the goals as they go in on 5 Live and the World Service. And here at Old Trafford, we have under 7 minutes remaining. Let's go back to Carrow Road, Norwich Cardiff, John Southall.
6 minutes to go, Norwich 0, Cardiff 0, both sides pushing for the winner here. We've had chance of You Don't Know What You're Doing, directed at Chris Hughton when he took off Gary Hooper for Johan Almanda. He cannot afford to lose this game. Norwich 0, Cardiff 0.
In the Rugby League World Cup, the opening game, Australia beats England 28 points to 20. There'll be a reaction on 5 o'clock with Sports Report and Jonathan Overend, who's here at Old Trafford, as well as all the reaction to the Premier League games. And we're going to go back to Anfield and Juliet Farrington.
Luis Suarez almost made it 5 to Liverpool and getting his 4th of the afternoon. An overhead kick just onto the bar. There's just no stopping him this afternoon. A hat-trick for him, 1 for Sturridge. Liverpool 4-1 lead there against West Brom.
And of course you can have your say with Robbie Savage and Darren Fletcher. 606 0500 909 693. And tomorrow, don't forget, Match of the Day 2 Extra, that simulcast on BBC One, 5 Live and the website with Mark Chapman at 12:15, and also in 5 Live Sport tomorrow at 1:30, the FA Cup first round draw. And of course today is the 150th anniversary of the FA, and there is a big glitzy dinner in the Connaught Rooms in London tonight.
You going?
I was invited.
Oh yeah.
But I decided to work here with you instead.
Such a social scene you are. Who's got booked there?
Thank you. 5 minutes remain of normal time. You've got to feel a great deal of sympathy for Stoke, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely the way. But I will say this, that, you know, undone by 2 balls into the box, something they are normally very, very adept at dealing with, certainly.
I think when they played Arsenal, and it was all 3 goals they conceded that day were again.
That's
into the box set pieces, wasn't it?
In Arsenal, yeah.
We'll give you the latest scores in the Championship in a moment as well. Stoke City now with Nzonzi coming forward. Earlier today, draw at Oakwell, Barnsley 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Huddersfield beat Leeds 3-2. Latest scores, Blackpool against Blackburn. I think we had that Blackpool were winning that, didn't we, earlier on? That says 1-1 on my screen now, which is bizarre. Bolton 1 at Ipswich 1. Burnley 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Derby 1, Birmingham 1, Leicester 2, Bournemouth 1, Reading 1, Millwall 0, Yeovil 3, Nottingham Forest 1. We definitely did there, didn't we?
Yeah.
It came up on the screen.
That'd be QPR's first defeat, stays like that.
Yes. Yeah, and the only unbeaten league record would go. It would leave Cambridge United, who are flying high in the conference, then to be at the unbeaten side. Here is Kagawa for Manchester United. You can feel, can't you, that the pressure that had been building, there is the relief now inside this stadium.
Yeah, well, the relief, and of course also the release in terms of all that pressure now all of a sudden is at the back of Manchester United, and it's pushing them forward.
Manchester United 3, Stoke City 2. 5 live, 3.5 minutes remaining of normal time, and the wait will go on for Stoke City, but boy, they came close. And you think about the chances that were squandered in the first half, with Crouch scooping over from close range, and that save that De Gea made from Walters. Januzaj, one of the 3 substitutes that certainly made the difference, pulls the ball back. Evra will tee up Carrick. Carrick will shoot, takes a deflection, goes behind for a corner.
Good play by Januzaj again, isn't it? Great vision.
Bristol City now lead Carlisle by 4 goals to 2, and there's only about 5 minutes remaining, less than that maybe. Dundee United now leading St Mirren 4-0, and this corner might well be taken short on this near side, the right. It is 2-1 to Blackpool, so the computer screen in front of us has a little gremlin deciding to play tricks, but we've had confirmation from Steve Wyatt, who's there for final score. And Blackpool, best start in 18 seasons, unbeaten so far at home, and that will be a 3rd successive defeat for Blackburn Rovers. Burton Albion are leading at Exeter by 1-0. Should say that Old Trafford and Exeter are the games today where the Kick It Out campaign have been focusing. They all wore their t-shirts ahead of the match. 20 years of campaigning is the slogan for the season. It's rather than the dedicated period of October. They've decided to be replaced by games throughout the 20th anniversary of such a worthwhile campaign. A campaign, of course, that is so appropriate given the nonsense that was going on in Moscow in midweek. And Exeter is another game where those t-shirts were worn pre-match for that match against Burton.
Yeah, nonsense is the best description as well, isn't it? Blatter will sort it out, though. We've got every confidence.
Oh, yes. It's October the 30th, that's this week, where UEFA will decide what sanctions to take against the Russian side. Valencia caught by Nzonzi. They've been persistent defending really in this second half of Stoke.
As the pressure's built up, they fouled more and more. Peter Crouch was lucky before he kicked the ball away. Did he not get booked in the first half?
Yes, he did.
He was very, very fortunate, and it almost hit the referee on the head.
Manchester United now quite happy to keep the ball. We're inside the last 80 seconds of normal time. 5 live in the World Service, sloppy. Evans has given the ball straight to Crouch. Now what can Stoke do it within the dying stages? They're trailing by 3 goals to 2. Adam picks himself off the floor. He was fouled though by Carrick, and now he waits and tells the players to go forward. There's only one way, or one place where this ball is going, and that is forward, but not in the air. It's by Whelan. Out towards Wilson. That caught me by surprise. Here is Adam. Adam now into the penalty area. Crouch at the far side. And Rooney will head the ball back to De Gea. And then De Gea is challenged by Walters. De Gea pushes Walters. He was late. The ball has been knocked into the back of the net, but the whistle had already blown.
By the way, how cool was Rooney? Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Everybody looked and thought, he's not going to, is he? And he did.
Southampton against Fulham is the 5:30 kickoff, and Will Perry has the team news.
2 changes for Southampton from their draw last week, where you are, Ian. Ricky Lambert and James Ward-Prowse come in for Danny Osvaldo and Stephen Davis. 1 in, 1 out for Fulham. Captain Breda Hangeland is injured. Fernando Amorbieta starts.
The leaders Saracens are now trailing at Franklin's Gardens 36-13, so Northampton going to inflict the first defeat for the leaders this season, as Tranmere may well be getting their first win at home. They're now leading MK Dons by 3-2 in League One. James Rowe with the late goal, and Stevenage have added a second in League One against Crawley Town. Stevenage 2, Crawley Town 0. All the goals coming up in the classified scores during Sports Report with Jonathan Overend, as we're now into stoppage time, and we have 5 minutes of added on time now at Old Trafford. Manchester United, 2 goals in 2 minutes to turn the game on its head. Late on in the second half, leading Stoke City by 3-2. Bury may well be getting their first win under caretaker manager Roddy Jepson. They've come from behind. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Bury 2. That would be a first win in 9 for Bury. From the throw, it's Valencia. Sir Alex Ferguson watching on in the director's box away to our left-hand side. Everton leading Villa Park 2-0. Liverpool 4-1 against West Brom. No goals between Norwich and Cardiff. And a result from earlier today. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. But Arsenal's lead at the top will only be 2 points because of Liverpool's impending victory. Penalty now at Turf Moor, Alistair Yeomans.
Danny Ings brought down in the penalty area. He'll take the penalty kick himself. Remember, he gave Burnley the lead after 65 minutes. Just checking there's no encroachment in the area. This will be the double. This will consign Queen's Park Rangers to their first defeat of the season in their 12th game. Danny Ings will run up any second now, right-footed. He'll take on Rob Green. 2 minutes to go. Here's Ings. He scores. Burnley 2. Queen's Park Rangers 0.
Here is Crouch. Crouch still on the edge of the area. United will clear. Still remember, the advantage for Manchester United is such a slender one, as Burnley looking to consolidate their position at the top of the Championship. Leading second place Queen's Park Rangers 2-0, and the only unbeaten league record is now going to dust with that news from Alistair Yeomans. Here, Manchester United 3, Stoke City 2, and Aberdeen have got a second goal at Easter Road. Hibernian 0, Aberdeen 2. Burton have beaten Exeter by 1-0. That is a result. The classified scores coming up on 5 Live. 3 minutes of added on time remaining. And they'll be conscious of what happened last week, won't they, Mark, Manchester United?
Yeah, there's that little bit of nervousness about them as well, isn't there? And I said to you before, I don't think defensively they've been good at all today, Manchester United. And the Jones, Smalling and Everett, etc. have been very, very poor generally when put under any kind of pressure.
It will extend the unbeaten run to 5 in all competitions, the longest run under David Moyes, as they look to try and build a bit of momentum. But at least he won't be able, at least not asking or answering the questions of losing that fear factor as he did against West Bromwich Albion and Southampton in recent performances. It will give the beleaguered Manchester United boss a little bit of a lift as we wait for the full-time scores to come in around the country, with Everton leading at Villa 2-0, Liverpool 4-1 up, 0-0 between Norwich and Cardiff. And that's what he needs, isn't he? A bit of momentum.
Well, yeah. Needed a win as much as anything, and he doesn't even take draws, so Lord alone knows what it'd been like tonight if Stoke had come here and won.
And for Stoke City, it will be 6 games without a victory, but they will feel hard done by here, the way their side have acquitted themselves. Let's get an update from Carrow Road with John Southall.
0-0, but the referee needs to take control because we've got 20 players brawling in the middle of the pitch, going face to face. It was after a free kick that was Cardiff's way, was put into an empty net by a Norwich player. The players went head to head. The referee's now sorting it out. 0-0 deep into injury time, Norwich-Cardiff.
Here is Nzonzi looking to wriggle away from Hernandez. Manchester United looking to press high up the pitch. This is with Adam, the substitute, over the halfway line. 90 seconds of stoppage time remain. The ball out towards that far side. The right, Walters, back to Whelan, to Walters, tried to play a diagonal ball to Nzonzi, it was blocked, it comes to Whelan to Nzonzi, a little flick has asked far too much of Walters. Carrick will tidy up back towards De Gea, and De Gea clears left-footed. and by my watch we're inside the last 60 seconds now of stoppage time. Whelan wins that 50-50 challenge against Kagawa. Stoke looking to come forward. The ball was threaded through, but stepping away was Rooney, and Rooney now will float the ball out towards the right-hand side. Peters tried to intercept it, but it ran away off his left shin and out for a United throw. Mark Lawrenson.
Well, it's just that Manchester United now just need to keep the ball, but the problem for Stoke is they've got Crouch's 6'5", 6'6", whatever, and the pussyfooting around him. They need to get the ball up to him, get people in and around him. It doesn't matter, you know, just in the last couple of minutes, you've got to create some chances.
A yellow card to Valencia for time wasting with that throw-in. Blackburn have equalised at Blackpool. Blackpool 2, Blackburn Rovers 2. The leaders of League One, Leyton Orient, have beaten Rotherham United by 1-0. That is a full-time score. Here we're deep into stoppage time, and by my watch the 5 minutes are now over. It's Stoke City with a throw on the left-hand side. Manchester United, a huge sigh of relief. They have beaten Stoke by 3-2. They left it late. It was far from easy. Mark Lawrenson.
It was a roar of relief, wasn't it? Stoke played extremely well. They just went to sleep a little bit, but you have to credit with Manchester United. We've been able to come back. Listen, they're a long way from being a good side, but at least they kept going. And the substitution today that David Moyes made actually changed the game. It's something to hang on for, a glimmer of hope for the future.
They are back to winning ways in the league, but only thanks to 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes as David Moyes salutes the Stretford end. Manchester United 3, Stoke City 2.
Huge relief all around the home of the English champions here, and it took 77 minutes for the crowd to wake up. This was interesting from Gary Neville on Twitter during that second half. He said, embarrassed at some of the tweets I've seen. The essence of being a United fan is to always believe the team will score and it will never give in. Well, I think there were stages during that afternoon that the fans here didn't believe that they were going to get anything out of that. Stoke devastated to leave Old Trafford with nothing.